Chapter 1592. Li Fan acted as the peacemaker, calming the two of them down first. The two of them were very important to him in dealing with the sky beyond. These two, one righteous and one evil, could allow him to maintain an all-rounder. You two, please help me together. Li Fan asked sincerely. Don't worry, I will definitely do my best to help you. Miss White Tiger gently touched Li Fan's cheek, not only to help you, but also to help myself. Of course I will help you. This seat is only temporarily cooperating with you, don't think too much about it. The nine-tailed divine fox still had that double attitude, no one knew what she was thinking. Li Fan, do you have any good ideas? Miss White Tiger was very concerned about this problem. The only way is to think of a way to quickly increase the rotation speed of my Tai-Ji diagram. Li Fan said, I'm so envious of the mental space recorded in Dragon Ball. A few years have passed inside, but only a day has passed outside. Originally, using the power of the Azure Dragon Pagoda and the Mirror of Time could also be done. Miss White Tiger laughed, unfortunately, it was destroyed by you. Damn, this is too unlucky. Li Fan was very helpless, who could have expected this kind of thing? It doesn't matter, there is actually a mental room in my pagoda. Miss White Tiger's words caused Li Fan's eyes to light up. Ah. There really is. Although it can't reverse time, there is another set of methods. Miss White Tiger nodded, in this mental room, the gravity is 10 times that of an ordinary room. However, this is only a small part of it. That place has a strict test of mental power. If you can cultivate there, your martial arts will advance by leaps and bounds. What kind of logic is this? Li Fan was a little confused, but the nine-tailed divine fox had a rough guess. It's mental suppression, right? That's right, you're smart. Ms. White Tiger's attitude toward the nine-tailed divine fox had never been very friendly. In the face of such intense spiritual suppression, a normal person would rather die than live. It is also a harsh test for martial fighters. It trains both the body and the mind, and it can stimulate the qi to improve greatly. This is the good side. If something goes wrong, Li Fan will probably become a madman, right? The nine-tailed divine fox crossed his arms and chuckled coldly. White Tiger, I thought you were being kind, but it turns out you're just using Li Fan. I'm just providing a way for Li Fan. Miss White Tiger frowned coldly. I'm different from someone like you who has ulterior motives. What a joke. I wonder who's joking. Seeing that the two women were about to fight again, Li Fan had a headache. Could it be that these two people were enemies in their previous lives? Alright, no matter how scary the place is, we have to go and take a look. Since there was such a room in the tower, Li Fan had to go take a look. As the saying goes, seeking riches amidst danger. This was his chance. Don't worry, I'll be by your side at all times. Miss White Tiger said. If you're in danger, I'll close the psyche room immediately. Then let's go take a look at the psyche room. Li Fan was a little impatient. I want to see how scary it is. Alright, come and take a look. Miss White Tiger did not go out. She only asked Li Fan to inform Chun-Er through the communicator. Soon, Chun-Er walked over slowly with a scroll in her hand. Husband, old master, I've brought it. Chun-Er said as she slowly unfolded the scroll and hung it on the wall. The nine-tailed divine fox did not think much of it at first, but when she saw the scroll, she could not help but widen her eyes. 10 Miles Pavilion of Spring. Oh. You know of this painting? Miss White Tiger was also a little surprised. This nine-tailed divine fox was not a fool. How could I not know? The nine-tailed divine fox's eyes narrowed slightly. This painting has been lost for thousands of years. I didn't expect it to be in your hands. An old friend entrusted it to me. Miss White Tiger smiled. Long before Li Fan, he entered my pagoda. He has this 10 miles pavilion of spring in his hands. There's such a powerful person. Li Fan was a little curious. Please tell me. He was a few hundred years earlier than you. His name is Lu Jinchan. Fuck, Lu Jinchan, this name resounded like thunder. If not for the fact that they were in different generations, he really wanted to have a good spar with him. Speaking of which, this Lu Jinchan. The martial arts he practices should be the same as Imperial Concubine Zhou's Vairocana Heart Sutra. But Imperial Concubine Zhou has lived for hundreds of years. How did he pass away? Li Fan muttered. Since he's such a powerful almighty, he might still be alive, right? No, he's already passed away. Miss White Tiger shook her head. I saw him pass away in meditation in this sacred pagoda with my own eyes. At that time, he was about 160 years old, but he still had white hair and a youthful complexion. He had the aura of an expert. It's a pity. I can't see him. That's not necessarily true. Miss White Tiger pointed to the landscape painting of the pavilion hanging on the wall. When he passed away, a remnant soul of his was left in this painting. In a while, you can see this legendary figure with your own eyes. Ah. Could it be? This is. Li Fan seemed to have guessed it. That's right. This painting is the psyche room that I mentioned. Miss White Tiger nodded. This painting is a world of its own. Just like your mirror, it's a treasure left behind from ancient times. Go, I will protect you. If you're in danger, I will immediately close the painting and release you. All right, I will do my best. Li Fan nodded. Miss White Tiger immediately cast a spell, causing Li Fan to feel his body suddenly become very light. Then, he began to shrink, and the entire world was magnified. The figures of Miss White Tiger and the nine-tailed divine fox also turned into giants in the blink of an eye. Before Li Fan could take a closer look, his body turned into a wind and was stuffed into the painting. When Li Fan landed on the ground again, he realized that he had arrived at a small pavilion by the lake. The side of the pavilion was filled with white peonies that swayed in the wind. It was very beautiful. A terrifying pressure landed on Li Fan's body, causing Li Fan to feel that his body was extremely heavy. Just as Miss White Tiger had said, the gravity here was 10 times that of outside. It wasn't just a matter of gravity. Li Fan felt that his head was also very heavy, as if there was a rock pressing down on his head. This oppressive feeling made him feel extremely depressed. He even wanted to end his life in this pavilion at any moment. Chapter 1593. Li Fan didn't feel any spring in the so-called 10 miles pavilion. Instead, he felt like he wanted to die. It would be too depressing to live here. The nine-tailed divine fox and Miss White Tiger also flew in and attached themselves to Li Fan. Li Fan immediately circulated his power to protect his entire body, trying to block the mental suppression here. However, mental suppression was more special. It was not affected by true qi and directly acted on Li Fan's brain. Li Fan did not dare delay. He immediately got into a cultivation posture and let the Taiji diagram in his body begin to circulate. He tried to enter a state of cultivation without any desires. However, it was very difficult to enter a state of cultivation in such a place. Li Fan's mind was in a mess. It was as if there was a mournful voice screaming, making him restless. Empty your mind and guard your heart. At that moment, a hearty voice sounded in Li Fan's ears, causing Li Fan's body to tremble. The other party recited a series of incantations. It was a method to adjust one's breathing. It was not considered profound. However, at this moment, it seemed to have some good effects. A silver-white glow slowly emerged from Li Fan's body. His mind also began to clear up. The Taiji diagram in his body spun faster and faster. It was like a sports car that had stepped on the accelerator to the end, speeding uncontrollably on the road. Li Fan had already entered a state of cultivation. Under this state of mind, his cultivation speed was indeed more than 10 times faster than usual. As for Li Fan's Taiji diagram, it was too domineering. Every time it spun 81 times, it would forcefully absorb the surrounding energy. Not only did it absorb the primordial energy in the painting, but it also absorbed the power of Miss White Tiger and the nine-tailed divine fox and fused them into the Taiji diagram. This made Miss White Tiger and the nine-tailed divine fox complain incessantly. If this continued, their souls would probably be destroyed. However, Li Fan's cultivation was permanent. After he finished absorbing a wave, the Taiji diagram rotated 81 times. After refining the power, it returned to the two of them. At the same time, Li Fan realized that he had also absorbed a wave of pure yang inner energy and fused it into his Taiji diagram. The four powers in the Taiji diagram were mixed together. His pure yin primordial energy, the mysterious pure yang inner energy, the red demonic power of the nine-tailed divine fox, and the white holy power of Miss White Tiger. Taiji was a mixture of yin and yang. The current situation allowed the Taiji diagram to unleash its true power. Li Fan felt his strength increase by leaps and bounds. At the same time, the nature of the Taiji diagram was undergoing a change. The four powers were fused, tempered, and slowly formed into a new type of energy before, which was returned to the Taiji. Now, a new power was being born in his body. In the Taiji diagram, rays of golden red light were flowing everywhere. Li Fan, I Fan I was, I, or not. Since he was coming up with a name and he wanted to surpass the Grandmasters, he might as well make it a little more impressive. Emperor Aura. Li Fan decided to call it that. Congratulations, you've fused a new power. The hearty voice sounded again. Your power is extremely domineering. It has the demeanor of an emperor. Li Fan let the Taiji diagram in his body continue to spin. At the same time, he opened his eyes and looked around. On the lake beside the pavilion stood a man dressed in white. The man was about 20 years old. He was very young. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes. Li Fan of the Seven Knights Villa greets Senior Liu. Oh. You recognize me. The man stood on the lake and walked on the waves. Soon, he arrived in front of Li Fan. He was dressed like an ancient person and spoke in an ancient style. For hundreds of years, no one has entered this painting. It looks like you're fated to be here. I've admired you for a long time. There was no one else around. Li Fan decided to be a fan. I've also practiced your self-created god-slaying swordsmanship. It's really amazing. Oh. Lu Jinchan could not help but look at Li Fan. I created the god-slaying swordsmanship on the spur of the moment. I didn't expect you to learn it. However, looking at your martial arts, you don't seem to be from my sect, right? Senior, I'm practicing the 9 dragon skill and the yin-yang reverse training that I've learned. I see. No wonder I've never seen it before. Lu Jinchan nodded. But you don't have to call me senior. Look at me. I'm so young. We can just call each other brothers. No. You're so much older than me. How can I let you call me big brother? Pfft. You're ridiculous. Of course you're calling me big brother. Oh, right. Look at me. I'm so excited that I'm confused. Li Fan blushed. However, Lu Jinchan laughed out loud. Forget it. Who's the big brother and who's the little brother? What's the point in this 10 miles pavilion? Lu Jinchan continued. Kid, with your cultivation, have you already peeped into heavens beyond? Not just peeped. I even captured an inferior immortal from heavens beyond and locked him up in this white tiger's sacred tower. When Li Fan mentioned this, he was a little smug. He's just an inferior immortal. You're so excited. You're still young. Lu Jinchan was not surprised. That inferior immortal is at most 10 martial saints. I was untalented back then. I could even beat up an upper immortal. Even if I encounter a heaven immortal, I can still fight. Senior Lu, you're too awesome. Li Fan was flabbergasted. Don't tell me you've practiced immortal techniques. Immortal techniques are nothing. Although Lu Jinchan did not understand what awesome meant, he guessed that it was a compliment. Those immortal techniques are not that much stronger than our martial arts. It's just that they've been practicing for a long time. They're slightly stronger than us. As long as we break through the heavenly mode of martial fighters, given time, we can also become experts who can kill gods and Buddhas. The problem is that we don't have enough time. Li Fan sighed. I did break through the heavenly mode of martial fighters. But the threat from heavens beyond is getting more and more pressing. They will soon invade Earth and turn this place into their home. Alien foreign clans have wild ambitions. Lu Jinchan scolded. If it wasn't for the fact that during the primordial era, our ancestors' internal strife was too severe. Our experts were all killed and injured. How could those foreign clans be so arrogant? This, internal strife is our Chinese's habit. Moreover, history can't be changed. It's better for me to think about how to increase my strength to fight against those fellows. You alone won't be enough. Lu Jinchan shook his head. There are many people in heavens beyond. Just the strongest heaven immortals, there are 8 of them. Moreover, even if you can fight against these 8 people, there's still a truly terrifying immortal prime waiting for you. Chapter 1594. Lu Jinchan did not look like he was trying to scare Li Fan, but was merely stating a fact. Immortal lord. Lu Jinchan nodded. This immortal lord is the first person to lead the foreign races of heavens beyond, the ancient almighty who migrated from outer space to here. He is heavens beyond's last hope. Once he makes a move against you, he really can kill you with one finger. Li Fan's pride was hurt. Motherfucker, although this was indeed the case, Lu Jinchan's words were too hurtful. Kid, I am not trying to scare you. With your current strength, you are at most half an inferior immortal. But with your martial arts, it is not surprising that you can defeat an inferior immortal. But a heaven immortal's strength is 100 times that of an inferior immortal. For you, it is at least 200 times. Needless to say, the legendary immortal lord's strength is almost 1,000 times that of yours. Can such an almighty squash you with one finger? Yes, although he was unwilling, he had to admit it. Damn it, 1,000 times, this was too scary. Fortunately, that immortal lord had already exhausted his strength when he brought everyone here and is currently in deep sleep. Otherwise, no matter how fast you train, I am afraid you will not be his match. Hearing Lu Jinchan's words, Li Fan finally heaved a sigh of relief. Heavens beyond can only rely on you now. Lu Jinchan placed his hands behind his back and stood in front of Li Fan. You have your own way of training, I have nothing to give you. Moreover, what I am most interested in is that you have cultivated the power of lightning into your body. This is very interesting. At that time, I was just improvising. How did you receive the power of lightning into your body? Lu Jinchan could not understand this. Don't tell me you used your own body to withstand the lightning. That thing, even if you are a heaven immortal, you cannot use your body to withstand it. To withstand the lightning, one could only use the energy in one's body. But to absorb the power of lightning, one had to use his body to directly touch it. Back then, even Lu Jinshan did not have this ability. Therefore, after his god-slaying sword was created, he had not used it. The times have progressed very quickly. Now, humans can already produce electricity. Li Fan said that science and technology create the future. So it's a man-made mine. Realization dawned on Lu Jinshan. No wonder. The might of thunder in your body isn't very strong. However, your body has a stronger power of ice. This should be changed. Lu Jinshan reminded Li Fan, in the past, your power belonged to the feminine side, so it's possible for you to cultivate this cold attribute frost power. However, your current strength is too domineering and masculine. This ice element is a bit of a hindrance. I suggest that you expel the cold air in your body and focus on cultivating the power of lightning. This way, your lightning power will be even purer, and it will be even more helpful to you. Li Fan nodded. Lu Jinshan's suggestion was indeed correct. But in this way, the power of his profound dragon ice palm would be greatly reduced, and it might even become a third-rate palm technique. Although it was a pity, after cultivating to Li Fan's level, his moves would be simplified. This was also a way for him to evolve. Thank you, Senior Lu, for your suggestion. I will start cultivating now. Time was very short. A month's time would pass very quickly. Li Fan did not dare to hesitate. He immediately adopted his unique cultivation posture and entered a state of concentrated cultivation. A wave of cold air was still flowing in his body. Although Li Fan was reluctant, he still forced the cold air along his legs to the ground. The extreme cold air in Li Fan's body was 100 times more powerful than Luo Shuowu's cold technique. Very quickly, a layer of ice formed under his feet, and the ice continued to spread. In a short while, the entire lake's surface had frozen. White snow began to fall from the sky, and Lu Jinshan was surprised to see this. What a strong cold air. This kid's martial arts is indeed extraordinary. As Li Fan channeled the cold air out, the power of thunder in his body suddenly became excited. In the past, it was the home field of the cold air, and the power of thunder could only guard in a small corner. But now, the cold air was gone, and the power of thunder immediately came. In an instant, it went through all the meridians in Li Fan's body and entered his body. Li Fan felt a slight numbness in his body. After all, it was the power that he had refined, so it would not harm him. And under the tempering of the new emperor's energy, the lightning had also turned golden. So this is my power. Li Fan looked at the power of thunder in his body. The thunder and lightning were wrapped around the Tai Chi diagram, and as the Tai Chi diagram rotated, it continued to strengthen. At this moment, half of Li Fan's Tai Chi diagram was red, and the other half was blue and white. Beside the Tai Chi diagram, there were 8 trigrams runes. 4 of them were lit up, and the other 4 were gray. Once all 8 were lit up, his Tai Chi diagram would enter the next stage, and his strength would officially enter the lower immortal level. The human body was truly mysterious. Li Fan felt that he must have more secrets. The people of skies beyond like to temper their strength, so he should temper his body even more. As the saying goes, the body is invincible. When the time comes, he can beat up those so-called immortals. Li Fan closed his eyes and began his cultivation at a speed that was 10 times faster. Just like what he said at the beginning, Li Fan's cultivation here was like a car that had stepped on the floor oil, and his speed became faster and faster. At first, it was 10 times, then 15 times, 20 times, and finally, it was fixed at 50 times. His inner force increased by leaps and bounds, as if he had opened a cheat. The Emperor's energy was also becoming more and more condensed, and the rumbling lightning was retempering and activating every meridian, flesh, and blood in Li Fan's body. The 8 trigrams beside the Tai Chi diagram slowly lit up. After a month, Li Fan's 8 Tai Chi diagrams had completely lit up, and his Tai Chi diagram was spinning rapidly. The colors of yin and yang were changing. Very quickly, his Tai Chi diagram became half gold and half silver, and one of the 8 trigrams beside it was lit up. Li Fan opened his eyes, and a faint lightning light flowed out from his eyes. Huff, Li Fan spat out a mouthful of turbid air. He felt that his body had become even stronger. The electric current would stimulate the body's cells, and Li Fan was the beneficiary. Oh right, before I leave, I recommend you to meet someone. Knowing that Li Fan was about to leave, Lu Jinchan, who was guarding by the side, suddenly said. Is it urgent? Li Fan was concerned about the martial competition of the realm. In the past, it was only a martial arts competition in China to choose the leader of China's martial arts world. But now, under the government's interference, even the foreigners were going to participate. And, after all, you can't come here anymore in the future. Lu Jinchan said with a smile, so, I want to help you again. Chapter 1595. I can't come again. Li Fan was shocked. The painting will spoil. That's not it. Lu Jinchan shook his head. This painting is an ancient treasure. It will always exist. However, there's a restriction on the painting. A person can only enter once in their lifetime. Since you've been here once, you can't come a second time. Why is there such a restriction? It's simple. This kind of treasure belongs to the welfare category. Since you've already enjoyed it once, you can't keep it for yourself, right? Between heaven and earth, everyone's fortune is equal. Since you've already enjoyed it, why be greedy? Senior's right. Li Fan understood what Lu Jinchan meant. In other words, this painting was a cheat that could only be used once. If it was used too many times, it would be easy for the GM to ban it. After all, this is a unique space. I'm prepared to borrow the power here to send you to another plane. However, this will consume a lot of energy. With the power of this painting, you can only stay there for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, how much you can benefit from it will depend on yourself. To where? How do you know? Li Fan was puzzled. I accidentally entered it once. That's why I remember the aura there. Lu Jinchan said embarrassedly. Actually, I used to be a useless martial artist. It was because I accidentally entered that space that I was enlightened by the people inside. That's how I improved by leaps and bounds and became a powerhouse. Fuck. So awesome. Yes, time is limited. You must cherish it. Lu Jinchan nodded. Then, he stretched out his hand and clasped the top of Li Fan's head. Remember the aura there. Follow it. A strong suction force immediately pulled Li Fan. At the last moment, Li Fan asked hurriedly. Senior, where is that place? Tong Tian Tower. Pop. The space was forcefully squeezed. Li Fan's figure disappeared. Lu Jinchan stood beside the pavilion. His body slowly turned invisible. However, a smile hung on his lips. Kid, represent the clan of martial fighters and teach those grandmasters a lesson. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Jinchan's soul completely dissipated because he had used up all of his energy. At this moment, Li Fan's body flashed, and in the blink of an eye, he arrived at a void. Nothing could be seen here. It was pitch black all around, but there were specks of starlight flickering in the distance. Tong Tian Tower. Li Fan vaguely remembered that he had been to such a place before. Luigua! Li Fan couldn't help but shout. Suddenly, a huge pressure came from in front of him, almost causing Li Fan to kneel. A man who wasn't very tall suddenly appeared in front of Li Fan as if he had torn through space. He sat down in a chair, resting his chin on his hand, and looked down at himself. Li Fan was a little stunned. Fuck, it's not Luigua. Why does this person seem a little resentful? You're not Luigua. Seeing this person, the nine-tailed divine fox in Li Fan's body suddenly trembled. It actually flew out of his body, and with a plop, it knelt down in front of this person. Master, oh, so it's Lin Tong's clansman. The other party saw through the nine-tailed divine fox's memory at a glance and nodded. Alright, it's a coincidence. It's fate. After saying that, he looked at Li Fan again. You don't have to panic. I'm this generation's great cosmos god. As for Luigua, fuck him, that old brat's dick ran away long ago. At first, he was still very serious, but later on, this person directly started swearing. How was this the demeanor of a great cosmos god? He was clearly like a resentful woman. If I get out, I'll definitely pull out all the tendons and bones of that son of a bitch. Fuck. He scolded loudly. Suddenly, he coughed twice and adjusted his collar. Sorry, I lost my composure. Just pretend that you didn't see what happened just now. Alright. Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. This was a great cosmos god. From the looks of it, he seemed to be around the same age as him. You don't belong to this world, and I can't help you much. However, I can help you improve your fusion method with the spiritual beasts. This works too. In the past, I relied on this move to start my career. The great cosmos god laughed. It is fate that we met. For this little fox to fall into your hands, it is proof. Li Fan, your talent is actually better than mine. You can roughly understand 30% of this move of mine when I use it. But this 30% is enough for you to enjoy for the rest of your life. Saying that, he extended his right hand. Suddenly, a blood-red lightning appeared in his palm. It kept rolling in his hand, bringing with it a shocking energy. Li Fan subconsciously floated further away. But he still felt his heart palpitating. This move is called Sky Lightning Transformation. Watch carefully. Saying that, the great cosmos god took that lightning and smashed it into the top of his head. Pang! Blood-red lightning immediately appeared on the body of the great cosmos god. It revolved around him continuously, and his strength rose by quite a bit at this moment. His skin became brighter as if it was emitting a faint light like a firefly. This is the first Sky Lightning Transformation. Next is the second Sky Lightning Transformation. Saying that, the body of the great cosmos god suddenly trembled. The lightning on his body became thicker by several times. It directly rolled out and struck the surroundings. And the muscles on his body swelled by quite a bit. The light on his body became even more intense. Finally, the third Sky Lightning Transformation. A lightning symbol suddenly appeared between the eyebrows of the great cosmos god. Following that, the lightning rolled a few times, and his body directly became 3 meters tall. The lightning condensed behind him, forming a blood-red lightning ring. This is the third Sky Lightning Transformation. The first transformation can double your strength. The second transformation can increase it by 5 times. The third transformation can increase it by 10 times. With your comprehension ability, you should be able to comprehend the first transformation. That should be sufficient. Then let me try. With only a few minutes, Li Fan could not properly learn it. However, he was very engrossed in watching and was afraid of missing out on even a little bit. Li Fan extended his hand. A golden lightning appeared on his palm and rolled in his hand. The great cosmos god was using lightning to activate the cells in his body, allowing the skills of his entire body to circulate rapidly. Come! Li Fan smashed the lightning palm into the top of Great Song's head. This lightning energy immediately poured in from the top of his head and instantly swam around his body. Sky Lightning Transformation. First level. Li Fan's hair stood up slightly. Lightning swam around his body. Not bad. You have comprehended the first level. You can go back now. The voice of the great cosmos god fell. Li Fan's body trembled again. Second level. Li Fan's muscles suddenly swelled, and the lightning on his body became several times thicker. Chapter 1596. The great cosmos god opened his eyes wide. How many years had it been since he was so surprised? It seems that I have underestimated your potential. He added, comprehending the second level is already your limit. You don't have much time left. Go back, the third level. Li Fan's eyes exploded with golden lightning. His body suddenly expanded to more than 3 meters tall. Fortunately, the sportswear he was wearing was made of nanomaterials. It immediately stretched and expanded. At the same time, under the influence of Li Fan's power, this set of nanomaterials slowly turned black and gold. There were some lightning patterns imprinted on it. The great cosmos god was speechless. Just as he was about to say something, a golden light pressed down on Li Fan's body. With a pop, he disappeared in front of the great cosmos god. Ma Dan, why isn't he in my plane? The great cosmos god scolded, otherwise, would have tricked this guy to come in and take over my shift. Li Fan's figure instantly traversed through the plane. With a pu sound, he landed beside the pavilion. However, another golden light collided with his body. Li Fan felt as if he had been hit head-on by a large truck and almost fainted. He was sent flying and fell heavily into the training room of the White Tiger Pagoda. Husband, you are back. Chun-Er gently helped Li Fan up. Then, she whispered in his ear, these few days, your satellite phone has been ringing. It's General Ran. I got it. Li Fan moved his muscles and bones. This thunder transformation was indeed a little abnormal. However, because it activated the body's functions, there were not many side effects after using it. It was just some muscle soreness. However, he had not grasped the third level of this thunder transformation too well. He could only roughly use it for 3 to 4 seconds. It was indeed a technique used by the strongest expert in another plane. It was really powerful. Li Fan checked his body. There was basically no problem. Although his muscles were a little sore, he should be able to recover when he reached the place. Husband, you are the villa master of the 7 Heroes Villa. Do you want to bring 2 people to the Martial Society convention? Let Chiao-Er and Dong-Er follow me. Li Fan thought to himself, Chiao-Er can cook. She's a must-have when we go out. On the other hand, Dong-Er knew a lot about martial arts. She should be able to display her skills in the martial arts tournament. Alright, then Xia and I will guard the house for you. No. Xia barged into the room. The little girl seemed to have been listening at the door. Since it's a martial arts competition, I want to go as well. I'm the one with the highest level of martial arts among the 4 of them. Mister, you must bring me along. Xia was naturally active and loved martial arts. When she heard that Li Fan did not want to bring her along, she could not sit still. I want to bring all 4 of you, but there's someone at home to watch over. Li Fan reached out and patted Xiao's shoulder. Xiao, I'll leave the family to you and Chun, As long as you guard this place, no matter where I go, I'll have a place to stay. Don't worry, husband. We will definitely look after the house well. Chun knew Li Fan very well. She quickly pulled Xiao back and made a promise to Li Fan. Alright, then I'll leave it to you. With Chun and Xiao watching over the house, Li Fan could rest assured. He made a prompt decision and left the White Tiger Sacred Pagoda with Chiu and Dong. It was a long journey. After Li Fan left the pagoda, he followed the two beautiful sword maids to the shore. General Ran's men were already waiting on the shore. They did not know where Li Fan lived, but they knew that if they wanted to pick up Li Fan, they could just wait at the pier. A helicopter was parked there. General Ran had actually come to pick up Li Fan personally. General Ran actually came personally. I'm really flattered. Li Fan looked at General Ran and could not help but tease him. We're all brothers. What's the point of saying all this? General Ran grabbed Li Fan and dragged him into the military helicopter. Kid, it's getting harder and harder to invite you. Are you used to being the island lord? You don't even want to talk to your brother anymore. What are you talking about? I've been busy cultivating in seclusion recently. Li Fan laughed bitterly. Do you think it's easy to be a martial artist? Especially since I have to participate in the martial tournament this time. The martial emperor and Jiang Feng are eyeing me covetously. I have to go all out. The martial emperor. Didn't you and Jiang Feng kill the martial emperor together? General Ran was shocked when he heard this. He was resurrected by the people from beyond heaven and was trained to be an agent. Li Fan looked at General Ran and admired his expression. How is it? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Don't joke with me. My heart is not too good. I can't take this kind of shock. You're a soldier even if your heart is not good. You're really going all out. Is what you said true? The martial emperor felt that Li Fan did not seem to be joking. His heart immediately became heavy. Well, I've already fought with him once. His kung fu has improved greatly. I was almost defeated by him. Li Fan looked at the heavy face of General Ran and patted him on the shoulder. Of course, don't worry. I didn't go into seclusion for nothing. Also, why are you so active this time? Why did you ask me to participate in the martial tournament? According to the wishes of China, I shouldn't be participating, right? Now you have no choice but to participate. General Ran made a bitter face. After all, you're still a Chinese in name. This year, the American Empire sent an expert. Guess who he is? Who? Isn't it those guys who studied the Zeus project? That kind of clown. If he comes, I'll beat him up. No. That person is you. What? Li Fan was originally calm, but when he heard this, he was a little stunned. Take a look. General Ran took out a document and placed it in front of Li Fan. Number 9. Li Fan recognized the person in the document. He's working for the Empire now. He was a little puzzled. Although this number 9 was created in the Empire's laboratory, he should hate the American Empire very much, right? Now, he was actually willing to work for the American Empire. He even participated in this martial arts tournament for the American Empire. Fuck, this guy doesn't know martial arts at all. He completely relies on his own brute force to survive in society. He's now a big shot in the Empire. General Ran saw through Li Fan's thoughts. He asked Li Fan to flip through the document. Now, he's the hero of the American Empire. Everyone knows that he's called number 9. He's the savior. How ironic. Li Fan couldn't help but sneer. The American Empire developed him to make him the most powerful weapon. I didn't expect him to become the hero of the American Empire. That's strange. This person is rude and unreasonable. How did he become a hero? You can study more about him. General Ran looked at Li Fan seriously. Moreover, this time, China has some requests for you. Chapter 1597. Every few years, Huaxia would hold a martial arts conference. It was organized by the Sky Martial Pavilion in Jianghu, and all the martial arts sects in Huaxia were invited. Regardless of whether they were big or small sects, they were all qualified to participate. And the person who became the champion was fully deserving of the title of Master of Martial Arts, the leader of the martial arts world. The previous Master of Martial Arts was Muronging. Although she was not a Grandmaster at that time, with her exquisite swordsmanship, she defeated a few Grandmaster level masters, and thus took the position of Master of Martial Arts. However, there were still some criticisms in Jianghu. Many people said that Muronging had relied on her father's authority to sit in this position. There were even rumors that Murongbo had already reached an agreement with a few Grandmasters. He would not participate in the martial arts competition, and at the same time, secretly gave the Grandmasters some valuable gifts. Then, the Grandmasters deliberately gave way to Muronging, and helped their daughter take the position. Because of this, Muronging had never said anything. But she was also waiting for this year's Martial Arts Circle Convention to use her true strength to prove her status. Li Fan was now an overseas sect. If he participated in this martial arts conference, it would not be a good thing for the martial artists in Huaxia. However, compared to those who had fair skin, blue eyes, and golden hair, Li Fan was still considered half a family member. This time, the martial arts conference was interfered with by the government, and forcibly turned the martial arts conference, which was used to select the Master of Martial Arts Conference, into an international martial arts competition. Although it was still organized by the Sky Martial Pavilion, in order to adapt to the rhythm of the competition, they could only make some changes to the rules of the competition. This time, the entire world would be broadcasting the competition live, and it was even more spectacular than the Olympics. This time, the winner was not just the Master of Martial Arts Conference, but the real #1 in the world. Regarding this kind of competition and the title of the winner, Li Fan only thought of one word: King of Fighters. At this time, the helicopter was flying above the arena. Li Fan looked at the huge arena below and could not help but feel emotional. Just this martial arts arena alone was as big as a football field. There were rows of spectator seats around, and they would all have to sell tickets to enter. The ticket sales and the surrounding income naturally belonged to the local government. However, since there was such income, the local government also had to provide the contestants with a place to stay and a place to eat. This really became the Olympics. At this time, in his mind, Li Fan was still thinking about what General Ran had said to him. The government hoped that Li Fan could participate in the competition as someone else this time. Because there were large and small sects participating in the martial arts tournament, there was a small sect called the Heroic Martial Sect participating in the martial arts tournament. Because of the government, Fan could enter the martial sect and become a martial sect's participant. The Heroic Martial Sect was also a martial arts sect that was supported by the government. They wanted to form their own martial arts force. General Ran meant that Li Fan was already an overseas sect, and the government did not want his image to win the championship this time. Li Fan's influence was already not small. If Li Fan won the championship, then there would be more people who would worship him, and then run to his 7 Nights villa, which was also his island to live. The government definitely didn't want to see a brain drain. What's more, this was a martial arts tournament that was hosted by Huaxia. The winner had to be from Huaxia. The government knows that you can disguise yourself, so they hope that you can change your appearance and participate in the martial assembly as a disciple of the heroic martial sect. If I win, then the heroic martial sect will win, and the government will be able to promote the image of the heroic martial sect, killing two birds with one stone, right? Li Fan saw through the mystery in one go. I'm just conveying this opinion. It's up to you whether you agree or not. At that time, General Ran's face turned red. At this time, General Ran was secretly looking at Li Fan. He felt very apologetic. When they were discussing this matter, Li Fan did not refute it and directly agreed. But General Ran felt very sorry for Li Fan, and he was really sorry. Just like what Li Fan said, it was really ironic. Number 9 used to be a murderous demon king. He created a terrifying killing weapon. However, after doing a few things, he became a hero in the eyes of the Americans. He was put in an important position by the Americans and even represented the Americans to participate in the martial arts tournament. As for Li Fan, he had done a lot for Huaxia, but in the end, he became a person that Huaxia didn't want to mention. In this era, Huaxia didn't want a hero to appear, but the Americans were willing to have such a hero appear. This is the last time I will do something for Huaxia. Li Fan finally turned his head and said to General Ran, after this, I won't be a member of the National Security Bureau anymore. I want to return to the Li family island. Okay, I promise you. General Ran agreed. If the higher-ups don't agree, even if I have to smuggle you, I will send you back to the Li family island. I want to return to the Li family island. Why would I need to smuggle? Li Fan smiled. I only want a promise from Huaxia. I hope to enter the Li family island in an open and above-board manner, and also enter Huaxia in an open and above-board manner. I understand what you want. General Ran nodded. Li Fan was a true patriotic person. Unfortunately, the internal forces of Huaxia were complicated. Some people appreciated Li Fan, while others hoped that Li Fan would die. Since you understand me, I won't say more. Regarding the decision of the higher-ups, Li Fan was helpless. The only thing he could fight for was a normal person's identity. Huaxia has let you down in too many ways. General Ran was very ashamed. Huaxia has not let me down. It's just that some people in the government don't like me. I, Li Fan, do not live for them. I only live for my heart. Therefore, I am willing to hand you over. General Ran patted his chest. Don't worry, I will try my best to fight for a real identity for you. At that time, everyone will know your name again, and they will be proud of you. It's enough to hear brother's words. Li Fan's righteous look made General Ran unbearably moved. But Li Fan was secretly laughing in his heart. This time, even if he wanted to hide his identity, the martial emperor and the others would not allow it. When the battle reached a critical point, they would definitely recognize his true identity. He was not a spy, so how could he hide his identity so easily? In this kind of martial arts tournament where he had to go all out, he could not hold anything back. The higher-ups had calculated it well. They wanted him to work hard, but at the same time, they wanted him to give them a gift. Dream on. The people from the heroic martial sect are below. I will send you down. Alright, old friend, just watch my performance. Chapter 1598. Li Fan disguised himself and slightly changed his appearance. Then, under the arrangement of General Ran, he prepared to enter the heroic martial sect. Although the heroic martial sect had the support of the government, it was still a small sect. Although General Ran didn't want to reveal anything, Li Fan had already found out some information through Ling Tian. Now there was a martial arts general administration in Huaxia, which was responsible for dealing with matters in the martial arts world. This bureau chief's surname is Niu. Let's just call him Bureau Chief Niu. This guy used to work in the education department, but he was incompetent and messed up. Later on, he was transferred to the General Administration of Martial Arts. When he first arrived, he wanted to make drastic changes. He reached an agreement with a group of foreigners and turned the Martial Arts Assembly, which was used to elect the leader of the martial arts circle in China, into an international martial arts competition. He also created the heroic martial sect, which was supported by the government, and was prepared to control the entire martial arts circle in the future. It was said that this bureau chief Nyo even wanted to poach the sect leaders of a few big sects to be the instructors of the heroic martial sect, but in the end, they were all rejected. Bureau Chief Nyo was furious, he almost wanted to reform the martial arts again. In the end, a few sect masters agreed to be the consultants of the heroic martial sect. This time, the idea of letting Li Fan advertise the heroic martial sect was also thought of by this bureau chief Nyo. His original plan was for Li Fan to withdraw from the Seven Heroes Villa and join the heroic martial sect to become the official representative of Huaxia. But as soon as this was proposed, it was directly rejected by General Ran's faction. LinkedIn sources said that Bureau Chief Nyo was very angry at that time. During the meeting, he criticized some people for not being patriotic and not knowing how to look at the bigger picture of the country. Li Fan just smiled at these words. What he loved was this piece of land, not working for some government official or working for some bureau chief to get promoted and make a fortune. You are Li Yun. Although the heroic martial sect was still a new small sect, the dormitory they were staying in was not small, it was a luxurious set. When Li Fan walked in, the two martial artists were exercising. When they saw Li Fan, they did not welcome him. Instead, they smiled disdainfully. The dormitory is full. You can sleep on the sofa. A young martial master with a crew cut crossed his arms and said to Li Fan. Sure. Li Fan did not care. It did not matter if these people bullied him. He was only here to participate in the martial arts circle convention. He would leave once he completed his task. However, these people were different. They seemed to be here to fight for glory and even power and profit. Li Fan was different from them. If it weren't for General Rant's request, he wouldn't even be here. You're very smart. The man with the buzz cut looked a little proud. Someone like you who came in through the back door deserves this kind of treatment. All right. Li Fan acted like he didn't have a temper and actually agreed with a clear conscience. His attitude stunned a few of the martial masters who were prepared to take him down a notch. As the saying goes, you don't slap a smiling face. Whatever the other party said, they couldn't go too far. All right, you should rest. The man with the buzz cut couldn't handle Li Fan, so he simply ignored him and continued to practice on his own. Li Fan was happy to be free. He sat cross-legged on the sofa and began to meditate. Because there were other people around, Li Fan did not focus too much on his cultivation. After all, this was not his own closed-door training room. Everyone practice well. When senior sister arrives, we will ask her for advice. I really don't understand. She is so much younger than us, how did she become our senior sister? Who asked her to enter the sect early? Moreover, I heard that her martial arts are very powerful and her sword techniques are godly. A few of the heroic martial sect's disciples started to mutter. Li Fan listened from the side and did not interrupt. He was just curious about the origin of this senior sister. Hearing these people's worshipping tone, she should be a very powerful expert, right? At this time, a few disciples suddenly quieted down. Li Fan felt a powerful force approaching. He heard the respectful shouts of the disciples. Senior sister. Greetings, senior sister. Welcome, senior sister. Everyone flattered her. They were all waiting to get the favor of their senior sister so that she could teach them a few moves. Senior sister. I see that you are only so. Let me, Wang Dolly, try your best. A burly man wearing a leopard print vest seemed to be unconvinced. He looked at the girl who walked in and took a big step forward. He grabbed her shoulder, as if he wanted to give her a show of strength. But the girl did not retreat. Instead, she moved forward and crashed into the burly man's chest. The sword hilt in her hand fiercely struck the burly man's lower abdomen. Bang! Li Fan could feel a burst of air exploding from the burly man's back. Wang Dolly's vest was immediately torn apart. He himself fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth. It was obvious that he was not lightly beaten. Senior Sister was indeed Senior Sister. With this move, she suppressed the surrounding people. But this Senior Sister did not care about the others. She directly separated the crowd and walked to the front of Li Fan. She raised the sword in her hand and placed it on Li Fan's shoulder. You are Li Yun. Li Fan finally opened his eyes and looked at her. His heart fiercely jumped. This girl was not someone else but an old acquaintance, Liang Ru. It really is you. Although Li Fan's appearance had changed slightly, Liang Ru was still able to recognize him at a glance. Especially Li Fan's alias, Li Yun. Liang Ru had a deep impression of him. Even if you turn into ashes, I will still recognize you. Liang Ru's pair of beautiful big eyes stared fiercely at Li Fan. I didn't expect that you would really dare to come. Everyone started to mutter. Senior Sister knew this guy who entered through the back door. What was the relationship between the two? It seemed like their relationship was very bad. I didn't expect that the new Shangfang sword would be you, Li Fan sighed. This was really an ill-fated relationship. Li Yun, you rascal. I will teach you a good lesson. Liang Ru's expression was complicated. Li Fan could not tell what the little girl was thinking. She walked forward and grabbed Li Fan's collar. Come to my room. No matter what the others hear, they are not allowed to come in and are not allowed to plead for him. Do you understand? Yes, Senior Sister. No problem, Senior Sister. It has been hard on you. The surrounding disciples did not dare to say a word. One by one, they watched as Li Fan was dragged into the innermost room. All of them rejoiced in his misfortune. This brat was too unlucky. It was probably because he was not strong enough that he entered through the back door and was despised by the powerful Senior Sister. But in consideration of the face of her fellow sect members, she was not willing to make a fool of him in front of everyone. She was probably teaching him a lesson right now. Pitiful junior brother. Who asked you to not have any strength? In the heroic martial sect, everything was based on strength. What about Wang Dolly? Let the doctor come and take a look at him. While the people outside were busy, in the room, Liang Ru suddenly put down her sword and tightly hugged Li Fan. Liang Ru. It's not good for us to be like this. Smelling the faint fragrance from Liang Ru's body, Li Fan said. Chapter 1599. You're just a coward. Liang Ru hugged Li Fan tightly, and did not have any intention of letting go. I fought for this qualification, just to be able to find you, and then let you acknowledge me. You still borrowed your father's authority. Li Fan had a headache. This girl, she had always shouted that she did not want to be treated as a second-generation official, but for him, she actually took this step. I'm borrowing it, so what? Liang Ru had indeed relied on her father's relationship to get the chance to visit the Shangfang sword. Her strong desire to get close to Li Fan had reached an agreement with the wishes of the Shangfang sword. Although the sword spirits inside the Shangfang sword did not like Li Fan was undoubtedly their best successor. And Liang Ru's desire for Li Fan, the mental power that she emitted also affected them. In the end, the Shangfang's sword actually broke through the restrictions that the dragon lady had placed on them, and formed a contract with Liang Ru. Liang Ru had only tried her best, but she did not expect that she would actually succeed. She was wild with joy, and then, she saw Li Yun's name in the heroic martial sex list. Liang Ru was very smart, and she had a certain level of political acumen, so she quickly guessed some clues. You. How stupid are you? Li Fan sighed. Aren't you stupid? You're more stupid than anyone else. Liang Ru's strength reminded Li Fan of his past self. Anyway, no one can stop me from doing what I've already decided. I, Liang Ru, will follow you for the rest of my life. You can't escape, and no one else can snatch you away. But I really have a girlfriend. Li Fan emphasized, and there's more than one. Li Fan's harem had reached a mysterious tacit understanding. It was impossible for the few women to not be jealous at all, but Li Fan was smart. He let the few beauties have their own things to do, and it was impossible for them to put all their thoughts on men, so it was better. But occasionally, when a few of them gathered together, they would fight openly and covertly, and the energy of jealousy would surface. Li Fan didn't have a better way to deal with this. He felt that it wasn't appropriate for him to add to his romantic debt. I don't care, I want to compete with those women. Liang Ru was very confident in this aspect. Our Liang family's genes are good. It's the same for me. I'm beautiful, young, and multi-talented. I even have the Shangfang sword. Who am I afraid of? You. Li Fan was usually a glib talker, but he didn't know what to say now. Liang Ru was too stubborn. She really wouldn't turn back until she hit the wall. In any case, I've decided. That's it. Liang Ru emphasized, to prove my determination, just watch. As she spoke, she suddenly tiptoed and kissed Li Fan's lips. Although the little girl screamed happily, the feeling of kissing was very inexperienced. After all, she had no experience in this aspect. When she was with her ex-boyfriend, Liang Ru was also very traditional, which was the opposite of her flamboyant personality. At this moment, this inexperienced kiss was given to Li Fan, causing Li Fan to be stunned. That kind of wonderful taste was like a fruit in early spring. It was sweet and sour. Li Fan couldn't help but take another bite. But he quickly came back to his senses and pushed Liang Ru away. Let's start with friends. Bah. You're taking advantage of me, but you're pretending to be innocent. Liang Ru suddenly pulled out her Shangfang sword. Li Fan, I heard that you're the villa master of some 7 Knights villa, right? Come. I want to see whether your 7 Knights fist is stronger or this Mrs. Sword is sharper. Li Fan blinked his eyes. Liang Ru's room wasn't big. It was like a single-person apartment. Inside, there was a bed, a table, and a bathroom at the side. The entire room looked to be about 10 square meters. If he wanted to fight, he wouldn't be able to use it at all. Also, I'm no longer practicing the 7 Knights fist, but the 9 Dragons execution. Who cares what it is? Come, let's do it. The young lady held her shining sword and pushed at Li Fan with her left hand. The powerful spiritual force immediately blew on Li Fan's body, causing him to fly out and hit the door behind him, making a bang sound. Mental energy inherited from the Shangfang sword. It seemed like those sword souls really liked this last Liang Ru. They actually passed their mental energy to her. My mental energy was cultivated with my life on the line. Comparing myself to others would be infuriating. A complacent smile hung on Liang Ru's lips. She leaped up and stabbed at Li Fan with her sword in hand. The young lady didn't show any mercy. She directly stabbed at Li Fan's lower abdomen. Trying to murder your husband? Bah. Not yet. Liang Ru was already in front of him. Li Fan forcefully broke free from Liang Ru's mental control. He leaped and slid up the door. Then, he stuck to the ceiling. Pooh! Liang Ru's sword directly pierced through the door. The blade came out from the other side of the door. A few disciples who were eavesdropping outside the door approached and saw the sword that pierced through the door. They immediately broke out in cold sweat. Fuck, she's serious, it's a little scary, let's leave quickly. The people at the side left one after another. They didn't dare to watch the show. Inside the house, Li Fan continued to fight with Liang Ru. Don't underestimate me. Liang Ru effortlessly pulled out her sword. Then, she jumped up and slashed at Li Fan above her head. Li Fan stretched out 2 fingers and flicked Liang Ru's sword. Clang! The Shangfang sword was directly bounced off and stabbed into the ground. Use a sword. If you want to attack, you have to focus on stabbing. Li Fan didn't forget to give Liang Ru pointers. Humph! Liang Ru stretched out her hand. The Shangfang sword flew back to her side and floated in front of her. Shangfang sword control. Liang Ru used her mental strength to modify the sword control technique. She pointed at Li Fan, and the sword flew directly toward Li Fan, stabbing at Li Fan's glabella. Li Fan flicked his finger and shook off Liang Ru's sword again. Liang Ru exerted her mental strength and made the Shangfang sword spin around the room, waiting for an opportunity to attack Li Fan. The Shangfang sword seemed to have come to life and suddenly attacked from behind, stabbing at Li Fan at lightning speed. Li Fan didn't even turn his head. He tilted his head slightly, and the sword brushed past his ear and stabbed out. However, Li Fan reached out and grabbed the hilt of the sword. The Shangfang sword struggled hard, but it couldn't break free from Li Fan's palm. Be obedient after seeing your old master. Li Fan snorted coldly. The Shangfang sword finally admitted defeat and obediently quieted down, staying in Li Fan's hands. You're relying on brute force to attack now. This won't do. Li Fan looked at Liang Ru, who had a face full of unwillingness. You have to learn techniques. Chapter 1600. The disciples outside all thought that senior sister was teaching the newcomer a lesson in the room. Who would have thought that it was actually this young man teaching their senior sister a lesson instead? Stab. 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 Stab with force. Stab quickly. As Li Fan speaks, he continuously stabs Liang Ru with the Shangfang sword in his hand. But every time his sword stops in front of Liang Ru can't even see how Li Fan attacks. She can only feel a gust of cold wind blowing past her face, causing her to shudder. She originally thought that after obtaining the Shangfang sword, she would have the strength to match with Li Fan. But who would have thought that reality would be so heartless? It directly slapped her in the face. Li Fan's strength has long surpassed her level. No way. Liang Ru suddenly shouts, you must teach me a sword technique that can defeat you. Ha! When Li Fan heard this, he immediately laughs, you're teasing me. I don't want to be so mediocre. I have already obtained the Shangfang sword, I must have the corresponding strength. I heard that your sweetheart is called Muronging, at least I must be able to defeat her. Ah, wanting to defeat her is indeed a bit difficult. Li Fan said that even if Liang Ru has the Shangfang sword, even if she uses the sword soul's power to transform, she might not be a match for that last Muronging. That woman is very powerful, her strength is almost on par with his. Although he has been diligently cultivating, Muronging has definitely not been idle for so long. I don't care, I want to learn. Even if you want to learn, I can't teach you. Li Fan doesn't know whether to laugh or cry, you just have to properly understand the essentials of using the sword that I told you. Sword techniques are broad and profound, there is a lot for you to study. Isn't it just stabbing and stabbing? You men are the best, how can we women know? Do you have to be so dirty? How am I dirty? It's obviously your own dirty thoughts. Li Fan felt that he couldn't win against Liang Ru in an argument, so he simply waved his hand and said, "That's enough. I'm going out to eat. I'll go with you." "Please, you are the senior sister. I am just a small martial master." Li Fan reminded Liang Ru, "Don't expose me. You are the villa master of the 7 Chivalry Mountain Villa. What are you afraid of?" "Even if I'm not afraid, I have to think about my brothers who make a living." Li Fan said, "Sometimes, you can't be willful just because you want to. If you want to follow me, you have to learn to look at the big picture first." "Humph. If you don't want to eat with me, then don't eat with me. Who cares?" Liang Ru opened the door and kicked Li Fan out. "Go eat your food." Everyone looked at Li Fan sympathetically. He was taught a lesson by his senior sister on his first day here. It was really too miserable. "Brother, let's eat together." A disciple walked over and wrapped an arm around Li Fan's neck. "It's fine, senior sister's temper is like this. Just do your best during the martial arts competition." "Thank you, Brother Wang." Li Fan was a little surprised. He did not expect that being intimate with Liang Ru in the house would have such an effect. "Let's go, let's eat." Wang Dali called out to everyone, "After eating, let's go to the training room to practice and teach our junior brother some martial arts." "Okay, let's go." These few heroic martial sect disciples did not reject Li Fan anymore. Originally, they wanted to give Li Fan a show of strength, but their senior sister had already done it. Especially these people, most of them were taught a lesson by their senior sister. Therefore, they began to appreciate Li Fan. The disciple who wrapped his arm around Li Fan's neck introduced himself as they walked. "Brother, my name is Lu Bufan. My mom said that I will definitely be extraordinary in the future." Li Fan muttered in his heart. "Bufan. This name is the exact opposite of mine. Don't be fooled by my ordinary appearance. In fact, I have learned martial arts from a famous martial arts sect, Shaolin sect." "Oh. I couldn't tell." Looking at this brother called Lu Bufan, with a cigarette in his mouth and a ponytail, he did not look like a proper Shaolin disciple. "Hi, Shaolin has too many rules. I can't stand it, so I left the mountain. But I have some small achievements. I have already trained to the 7th stage of Lotus Throne Zen technique. Arhat Fist is also at the point of perfection. I even secretly learned 2 moves of Thousand Buddha Palm. I don't dare to teach you Thousand Buddha Palm. I will teach you 2 moves of Arhat Fist. You will be able to use them on the stage. So you are a Shaolin disciple. Nice to meet you. No need to be so polite. It is fate that we know each other. Junior brother, which sect are you from?" "I learned a bit of 7 Heroes Fist from 7 Heroes Villa." Li Fan thought for a moment. This was the most reliable answer. "Fuck, 7 Heroes Villa. I heard that place is very evil. Even the 6 major sects stay away from them. Is it that exaggerated?" "Why not? Didn't you feel it when you were inside?" Lu Bufan muttered, "But I guess they are just fishing for fame. Otherwise, why would they run from China and betray overseas? If I see them, I promise I will beat their faces up and show them the power of Arhat Fist. Senior brother is mighty and domineering." Li Fan smiled. He was not angry. Practicing martial arts had always been about looking down on each other. If they did not really fight, they would never be able to tell the difference between them. "All right, eat more later." When we reach the martial arts field, let's have a good practice. Don't worry, I will be merciful. Thank you, senior brother. The two went to the cafeteria to eat. Li Fan and the others also saw a few foreign martial artists in the cafeteria. There were martial artists from various countries. Several foreign martial artists were amazed by the facilities and food of China. Hi! Li Fan and Lu Bufan randomly picked something to eat. Because they were martial artists, not bodybuilders, they did not need to be too strict with their diet. When a blonde beauty saw their food, she could not help but be curious. She immediately brought her chicken breast and milk and sat directly in front of them. Hello. Lu Bufan was warm and talkative just now, but in front of this beauty, he stuttered and his face turned red. Li Fan thought to himself, does this guy have social phobia? Hello, I am a French jiu-jitsu player. My name is Teresa Bell. She communicated with them in fluent Chinese. Hello, my name is. His name is Lu Bufan. Li Fan introduced. What about you? My name is Li Yun. Your Chinese is not bad. Of course. After all, I had a Chinese boyfriend. The French beauty Teresa sighed, unfortunately, his kung fu is not good. We can only break up. What kung fu does he practice? Kung fu in bed. Chapter 1601. It is said that French girls are passionate and romantic, and they are more open when it comes to sex. Li Fan had only heard of it before, but today, he finally witnessed it for himself. But that's all in the past. I'm married now. Teresa happily said, I'm very happy to be able to participate in this martial arts competition. China's food is very good, although it's still a bit inferior to our French food. I feel that our Chinese food is more delicious. Li Fan smiled, every country has its own eating habits. It's fine as long as you're happy. That's right. Both our countries have a good food culture, unlike those British who are so boring. Teresa said as she looked at the food that Li Fan and Lu Bufan were eating. However, don't you feel that it's inappropriate for you to eat this kind of food before the martial arts competition? Teresa chose food that was rich in protein and less oily. We are martial artists. There are some differences between us and ordinary martial artists. Li Fan explained with a smile. What's the difference? I don't understand. Teresa was very puzzled. Could it be that it's like the legendary Seven Beasts Villa, where they can control some sort of mystical chi? It's the Seven Knights Villa. Li Fan corrected Teresa. And China is not just the Seven Knights Villa. Just as Lu Bufan shouted, he saw Teresa's big blue eyes. His hot blood faded and he immediately stuttered again. There's also our Shaolin. Is it that place where everyone is a monk? But do you have hair? Teresa let out a question that sounded like a young girl. I'm a layman disciple, Lu Bufan coughed twice. Moreover, what we cultivate is indeed qi. We call it true qi. With that, Lu Bufan picked up a cup. The water inside was originally cold, but very quickly, the water began to boil. Li Fan couldn't help but want to give a thumbs up. Unexpectedly, Lu Bufan was less than 30 years old and already so proficient in internal energy. It seems that although there's something wrong with that bureau chief Nyo's head, the people he found are not bad. Wow, so magical. Are you a heat ability user? Teresa clapped her hands repeatedly. It's not heat. It's true energy. Lu Bufan was about to say something when a bald man walked over. His dark skin made him look like a wild beast, full of threat. Ha, it's all showy but impractical. Bai Sen, isn't it inappropriate for you to say that? Teresa frowned, feeling that the dark and tough guy was being a little too rude. You are so ungentlemanly. There are no gentlemen in the arena. Black and Hard replied coldly, and there were already people in the surroundings looking over. When they saw him, they started to discuss spiritedly. My God, boxing champion Bison. He's also here. Should I withdraw from the competition? I heard that those who fought with him were all crippled. How terrifying. Such a cruel fellow actually participated. Hearing the crowd's discussion, Blackheart's stiff face finally seemed to have a little bit of color. China's martial arts are broad and profound. You can look at it however you want. Li Fan pulled Lu Bufan, who was eager to have a try, and said, You'll be beaten up later. Ha, a boastful monkey. I want to beat him up. Lu Bufan couldn't bear it anymore, but Li Fan tried to persuade him. Don't worry, we'll have to go to the arena in a while. We'll deal with him then. It's against the rules to make a move now. Damn it, let's let this black ghost go first. As soon as Lu Bufan's voice fell, Li Fan suddenly raised his hand. Bam! Black and Hard, who had gone far away just now, had returned to them unknowingly and punched Lu Bufan. And Li Fan's hand just happened to block his fist. A slight explosion spread out. Black and Hard furrowed his brows. He did not expect that his fist would actually be blocked by someone. What are you doing? Lu Bufan didn't notice this punch. He thought that Black and Hard was just trying to scare him, so he immediately glared at him. How dare you insult me? Bison looked at Lu Bufan coldly. Your Excellency insulted my Chinese martial arts first, have you forgotten? Li Fan's voice was still indifferent. We have a saying in China, don't do to others what you don't want done to yourself. Humph. Bison swung his hand, withdrew his fist, turned around and left. When we get to the arena, I must teach this guy a lesson. Don't worry, you will have a chance. Li Fan patted him on the shoulder. Don't bother with that guy, he's very annoying. Teresa also comforted the two of them. You don't know any manners, barbarian. There must be all kinds of contestants, it's normal. Li Fan's temper was very good, so Teresa kept calling him a gentleman. Are you going to the martial arts field later? Teresa asked. Yeah, we have to warm up before the match. I still want to teach my junior brother a few moves. Lu Bufan became excited again. He pulled Li Fan's arm. We'll go first. Wait, I want to go too. Teresa seemed to be very curious about Chinese Kung Fu, especially the legendary True Chi. She wanted to see how powerful it was with her own eyes. Thus, this enthusiastic French beauty followed Li Fan and the others all the way to the martial arts field. This martial arts field was divided into many rooms, a total of more than 100, for the martial artists from all over the world to apply for use. Lu Bufan used his ID to apply for one and walked in with Li Fan and Teresa. The martial arts field was more than 30 square meters. The area was not bad. It was covered with mats and surrounded by mirrors, making it convenient for everyone to practice martial arts. Quick, let me see your Chinese martial arts. Teresa was very anxious, and Lu Bufan also wanted to show off his martial arts, so he walked forward and performed a set of Arhat fist. Looking at his Arhat fist, Li Fan could not help but nod. This guy's Arhat fist was quite good. At his age, it was already not bad to be able to practice to this level. But Teresa could not see anything. Instead, her face was full of doubt. This is Chinese Kung Fu. Please forgive my rudeness. But it does look like a flowery but impractical move. Who said so? Lu Bufan was anxious. He turned around and punched a sandbag at the side. Bang! The sandbag was pierced by Lu Bufan's punch, and the sand inside flowed out. Wow! What a powerful punch! Teresa finally looked at it seriously, but I can do it with my jujitsu. As she spoke, she stretched out her hand and inserted it into another sandbag next to her. The sandbag was immediately broken. Looking at her move, Li Fan was a little surprised. This girl's way of using her strength was quite amazing. Chapter 1602. Teresa had heard of the so-called Chinese Kung Fu before, but she had never seen it before. If Chinese Kung Fu was only at this level, it would be too disappointing. Chinese Kung Fu is broad and profound. It's not for performance. Li Fan explained, if you want to know more, you can watch from the side. Alright, I'll watch more. Teresa was very curious. She really wanted to see what was so powerful about this so-called Chinese Kung Fu. She heard that Li Fan from Seven Knights Villa was almost invincible in martial arts. How powerful was he? Isn't there a saying in Huaxia? Seeing is believing. I must get to the bottom of this today. Junior brother, let me teach you 2 moves. Lu Bufan was very enthusiastic. He patted Li Fan's shoulder and said, just these 2 moves. I guarantee that you will enjoy endless benefits. Thank you, senior brother. Li Fan did not refuse. If he was willing to teach, he would learn. He had seen the exquisite 1000 Buddha palm of the Shaolin abbot, but he had not seen what the Arhat fist looked like. Watch carefully. The first move is called Arhat hits the bell. As Lu Bufan spoke, he suddenly moved sideways and punched Li Fan's chest and lower abdomen with both fists. Li Fan immediately took 2 steps back and pretended. This move is fast. It doesn't rely on the strength of the fist, but the horsepower of the waist. If there is an enemy entangling you, you can use this move to win. Lu Bufan was very honest. He told Li Fan the more common fist techniques. If you are hit by the enemy, it doesn't matter if you ride on top of him. Lu Bufan pulled Li Fan and let him ride on his body as a demonstration. This move is called Arhat lifting. The premise is that you have to train your arm strength well. After Lu Bufan said that, he grabbed Li Fan's legs and lifted him up. Li Fan's body flipped in the air and landed firmly on the ground. When I was in Shaolin, I fetched water and chopped firewood every day, so my arm strength was pretty good. Lu Bufan waved his arm. With these 2 moves, you can guarantee your survival. Thank you, senior brother. I've learned a lot. Li Fan cupped his fists to express his gratitude. You're too polite. We're fellow disciples, so there's no need to be so polite. Lu Bufan was also a little happy. After all, it was very satisfying to show off in front of a beauty. Male hormones were the easiest to secrete in front of women. This had not changed for thousands of years, no matter how civilization had developed. Some of the Chinese Kung Fu is indeed ingenious, but I am more confident in my jujitsu. Teresa watched from the side for a long time and finally said, why don't we spar? This way, we can have a deeper understanding of each other's moves. As soon as she finished speaking, Lu Bufan's phone rang. He hurriedly ran over, took it, and said hurriedly. You guys practice for a while. There seems to be a problem with my accommodation procedures. I'll go settle it. After that, Lu Bufan ran away in a panic. Since he's gone, you come and spar with me. Teresa's eyes fell on Li Fan's face, and there was some persistence in her eyes. It was said that French people were lazy, but Teresa, who was so serious and waiting to spar with Li Fan, made him feel a little bitter. Please, dear Mr. Li. Before Teresa got permission, out of politeness, she couldn't make a move on Li Fan. All right. Li Fan knew that if he didn't agree, Teresa might pester them for a whole day. In order to make this beautiful French girl give up, he could only make a move. Honorable lady, please go first. No matter what, Li Fan was the host. Teresa was a guest and a beauty, so he should let her make the first move. Okay. Teresa didn't know how to be polite in this aspect. She suddenly lowered her body and then pounced over. Teresa learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and her moves were fierce. Her goal was to drag the enemy to the ground, and then suppress and strangulate them. She was best at joint techniques. As long as she pestered this Asian guy, she would definitely be able to subdue him. Teresa went straight to Li Fan's knee in a glance. She directly crashed into Li Fan's arms, and then put her hands on his calves, wanting to lift Li Fan first. Teresa knew that with her own weight and the strength of her arms, she should be able to lift a person who weighed 200 kilograms. However, Li Fan's feet seemed to be rooted to the ground. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't move him. How could this be? Teresa was very surprised and couldn't believe what she saw. At this moment, Li Fan's palm suddenly hit forward, directly on her lower abdomen. Bang! Teresa's body flew out as if she was hit head-on by a car, and then fell heavily to the ground. What? Teresa couldn't understand. It was just an ordinary palm that didn't seem to have any strength. How did it send her flying? This is impossible. This is true chi. Li Fan roughly explained, different from external strength, our true chi relies on internal strength. How is this possible? How can there be such a strange thing like chi in the human body? Teresa still couldn't understand, and Li Fan didn't explain further. If you want to understand, you can try to understand more about Chinese Kung Fu. Also, you can go to the Seven Knights Villa to learn martial arts. You will gain something there. The Seven Knights Villa again. I'm really curious about that place. After all, I'm a martial artist from the Seven Knights Villa. Li Fan spread his hands and got into a tiger fish stance. When we get to the arena, I can show you our sect's most basic Seven Knights fist. I want to see it right now. Teresa was very anxious. She pounced at Li Fan again, and at the same time, she was vigilant. No matter where Li Fan attacked, she would be able to neutralize it immediately. Li Fan stood there, waiting for Teresa, without any intention of making a move. Teresa was surprised. Could it be that he was waiting for her to make the first move? Just when Teresa was about 10 centimeters away from Li Fan suddenly raised his hand and clasped it on Teresa's forehead. With a tremendous force, the dojo master reached the top of Teresa's head and flipped her over, pinning her to the ground. Teresa knew that this Huaxia man was definitely showing mercy. If he wanted to, his claw would have broken her head. Oh my God, what a terrifying grip. Oh my God, how much strength do you have? Your body is too outstanding. Teresa couldn't help but praise. That's just one aspect. What's more powerful is my inner force. Li Fan winked at Teresa. Chapter 1603. But how did you shoot out your inner force? Teresa asked solemnly, is it because they are stimulated, and stimulated again and again before they are gathered in one place and shot out? Li Fan's face turned red from the question. He didn't know how to answer for a moment. Fuck, did Teresa really not understand, or was she too naive? Just now, something hot seemed to have entered my body. Teresa's face was filled with disbelief. That feeling of swelling, it felt like I was going to burst open. Li, shoot at me again. I want to feel this magical heat again. Please, let me feel it again. Li Fan didn't know what to say. This Teresa, she had brought up the topic. Come on, I know you Asians like to be reserved, but we Westerners don't care about this. Just launch your attack and pounce on me. Come on. Teresa, let's calm down. Li Fan decided to let Teresa calm down. After all, I still have to participate in the preliminaries. I hope to keep some trump cards. I hope you understand. You Asians always like to hide something. Teresa sighed. But it doesn't matter. I will definitely squeeze everything out of you. Not a single thing will be left. Lu Bufan happened to come in from outside. When he heard Teresa's words, he was stunned. He looked at the two people in the room strangely. His expression was as strange as it could be. Senior brother, don't misunderstand. What Miss Teresa means is that she wants to feel my vital energy. Oh, Lu Bufan looked at Li Fan with a rather ambiguous gaze. Li Fan complained incessantly. Goodness, she is a married woman after all. Isn't it not good to misunderstand? I'm here to inform you guys. Lu Bufan laughed. Although I don't know if I'm disturbing you guys, the first round of the preliminaries is about to begin. This was an international martial arts competition jointly organized by the Sky Martial Pavilion and the government. Not only would the champion obtain the third page of the true celestial arts, but there would also be a prize of 1 million. The second and third place would receive 500,000 and 300,000 respectively, while the fourth place would receive 200,000. The remaining top 8 would receive a prize of 100,000 yuan. The two temptations attracted many people to participate. Just the number of applicants alone was more than 1,000 people. In order to choose the winner from so many people, they needed to go through an audition. I was assigned to the 10th arena. Take a look at which arena did you guys get? Lu Bufan said, didn't we have an app on our phones when we came here? The higher-ups have already assigned us a venue. Let me see. Li Fan unlocked his phone and glanced at it. He was in the 15th district. Fortunately, he avoided senior brother Lu Bufan. You're in the 15th zone, and I'm in the 20th zone. Maybe we'll have a chance to meet. Teresa said excitedly to Li Fan. There will be 16 contestants in each arena, and it will be a free-for-all. The final winner will advance to the next round. 108 contestants would be selected in the first round, and they would have the chance to fight for the championship. In other words, the throne of the Martial Arts Alliance Master. There will be a total of 3 days of competition. I'm really looking forward to it. Lu Bufan was a little excited as he clenched his fists. With my strength, it shouldn't be a problem for me to enter the top 8. When I get the prize money, I'll treat you to a drink. The top 8, and even the top 4, would probably have great commercial value in the future. Li Fan believed that from now on, what awaited these people would be all kinds of advertisements, right? For sports, once it involved business, it was unknown whether it was good or bad. However, if the heroic martial sect's disciples were to get the opportunity to advertise, I'm afraid that the so-called department head Neo would take all the profits, right? It wasn't that easy to mingle in the system. There were 3 matches this afternoon. Li Fan, Teresa, and the others were divided into groups and headed to the competition arena. There were too many people, so they had to select the top 32 as soon as possible. Today, they had to select the top 32 in one day. On the second day, they would select the top 4, and on the third day, they would decide the champion. Li Fan came to his arena number 10, which was actually a very large empty room. Inside the room, there were already 16 contestants with different skin colors. Among them, there were more Chinese people. Li Fan didn't see any powerful characters. To be honest, he wanted to see Jiang Feng, Martial Emperor, as well as number 9's battle. However, this time, would the sect leaders of the 6 great sects come? They should come. If they could win in the competition, it would be very good for their sect's publicity. Just like that year, when Li Fan defeated the strongest martial artist, Takeda Takashi, it made the Seven Knights Villa famous. The competition time is half an hour. The rule is that fatal attacks are not allowed. The referee of the arena number 10 said, "You can take the initiative to admit defeat or fight out of the stage. If the contestant admits defeat, the others are not allowed to attack him. And the contestant who admits defeat must immediately leave the arena and not affect the competition." Understood, hurry up and start. A brawny man waved his sturdy arm, "The champion is mine." When he saw Li Fan walking out, his eyes had a look of disdain. "A small man like you also wants to compete for the champion?" Li Fan's height was only 1.7 meters, but this brawny man was close to 2 meters tall. His body was full of muscles, and his body seemed to be very strong. The level of martial arts is not determined by height. Li Fan smiled, walked up the stage, and showed his ID to the referee. In a while, I will let you know who is the one who decides." The brawny man rubbed his palms together, preparing to start with the weakest Li Fan. This brawny man was not joking. The muscles on his body were like rocks. This brother's weight was 200 kilograms, and he could forcefully pull out a small tree. With such a strong strength, he was known as a tank in the fighting arena. He was determined to be the champion. Today, he must crush these pitiful little fellows. Not only him, a few other contestants on the stage were staring at Li Fan like a tiger watching its prey. They all wanted to make a move on the weakest him. But Li Fan just stood there, wearing the martial attire belonging to the heroic martial sect. His upper body was white, and his lower body was black. The heroic martial sect's logo was printed on his back and chest, and on his shoulder hung a small 5-star red flag. It was this small red flag that gave Li Fan a sense of belonging. He stood on the stage, not the least bit nervous. Instead, he had a relaxed expression. One of his hands was behind his back, and the other was hanging in front of him, as if he was watching a show. Competition start. Chapter 1604. Match start. The referee finally blew the whistle. Two martial artists who were closest to Li Fan pounced at him. Both of them were grandmasters of combat. It seemed like they wanted to eat Li Fan, the weakest little fish, first. "He's mine." One of the grandmaster of combat with longer legs was obviously faster. With a proud smile on his face, he rushed to the front of Li Fan first. With a kick, he aimed at Li Fan's head. However, Li Fan turned his body slightly and easily dodged the vicious kick. At the same time, he raised his left hand in front of him and placed it on the left rib of the Grandmaster of Combat. True Chi Wave. Li Fan made up a name randomly. He gathered a bit of inner energy on his palm and then released it. Bang! The Grandmaster of Combat's body was hit by the inner energy directly. His waist bent as if it was about to break. Then, his whole body flew out and landed heavily outside the ring. A few people were dumbfounded. Before the other Grandmaster of Combat could react, Li Fan had already taken a step forward and placed his palm on his lower abdomen. What? Fuck! Before he could finish his sentence, he felt as if his lower abdomen was punched hard. He spat out a mouthful of bitter saliva and flew out, landing on the body of the brother from before. 2 out. The referee came back to his senses. After all, this was a martial arts competition. There were all kinds of experts. He did not expect to see an inner energy expert with his own eyes. How lucky! Deliberately mystifying. The 2-meter-tall man did not care at all. With his body's ability to withstand attacks, even if a small car were to crash into him at 30 miles per hour, he would be able to block it. He was that strong. He was a real tank of flesh. He stepped on the ground and started running. His speed was so fast that he brought up dust. In the blink of an eye, the man rushed to the front of Li Fan. Then, he extended both his hands and hugged Li Fan. "Ha ha ha, go and die." The burly man picked up Li Fan, and then the muscles on his arms bulged. He hugged Li Fan tightly, trying to crush Li Fan's spine. Based on his usual strength, even an iron bucket would be crushed by him. However, no matter how hard he tried, the little man in front of him could not move Li Fan at all. Strange. The burly man was puzzled, but under this pressure, Li Fan actually opened his mouth to speak. "Your strength is not bad, but you can't use it skillfully." As Li Fan spoke, he slowly withdrew his palm from the burly man's arm and placed it on the burly man's chest. Shin Chi wave. Bang! The man felt as if all the air in his lungs had been squeezed out. He let go of Li Fan, took 2 steps back, and knelt on the ground. As for Li Fan, he walked forward and directly pressed his palm on the burly man's lower abdomen. Another muffled sound. The burly man, who was more than 200 kilograms, was actually sent flying and fell outside the arena. I forfeit too. How do we fight like this? Upon seeing this, the rest of the contestants raised their hands and surrendered. Li Fan couldn't help but shrug his shoulders. The contestants in this arena were all trash. Okay, the competition has ended. The champion of arena number 10 is contestant Li Yun from the heroic martial sect. Please return to the resting room. The second round of selection will begin in an hour. Yes. Li Fan walked into the resting room. The resting room was not small, and according to the requirements of the Sky Martial Pavilion, it was separated. About 10 contestants in the second round could share a resting room. Li Fan walked into the resting room and realized that there was already a familiar face sitting inside. Jiang Feng was wearing his Imperial Army uniform, leaning back on the chair, reading a book in his hands. He seemed to be quite studious. "Oh. You're here too." Jiang Feng recognized Li Fan with one look. "This doesn't suit you. It's too ordinary." "Isn't it good to be ordinary? Ordinary people can only be led." Jiang Feng said slowly, "As for me, I only want to be a leader." "Then I can't be compared to you. I would rather be ordinary and live a carefree and happy life." Li Fan sat on the sofa at the side. A waiter passed a towel over for him to wipe his sweat. "Not like you, worrying to death every day. Even your hair has turned white, right?" "My hair is still black." Jiang Feng laughed. "As for you, your hair has turned a lot white. What are you worried about? Tell me, maybe I can help you." "What I need to worry about are them." Li Fan pointed his finger upwards. "Do you know that the Martial Emperor has been revived?" "Oh." Jiang Feng finally raised his eyes from the book and looked at Li Fan. "This kind of thing is not suitable to be joked about. Have you ever seen me joking with you?" Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. This time, he is participating. However, the current Martial Emperor is already the representative of Sky Beyond Sky. He has mastered the complete true immortal art. Even Jiang Feng was a little speechless at this moment. For the true immortal art, he actually sold his dignity. How boring. Jiang Feng was rather disdainful. "Hey, you don't seem to have the right to criticize others, right? I am bearing humiliation for my sister." Jiang Feng snorted coldly. "Don't lump me with that kind of person. He keeps saying that he is the Martial Emperor, but in the end, he became someone else's lackey. However, you have also obtained his technique." Li Fan knew of Jiang Feng's ability. "After learning the 5 Emperors Manual, what kind of strength have you reached? There's no harm in letting you see." As Jiang Feng spoke, his body suddenly emitted a black light, like a black coat, covering his body. Black Emperor Realm. Li Fan couldn't help but be surprised. My goodness, the realm that Martial Emperor has cultivated for so many years has not been able to reach, and you actually stepped into it so easily. Easily. Jiang Feng chuckled. How would you know how much suffering I have endured? That's your own business. Li Fan believed that his strength was not inferior to Jiang Feng. Sensing that someone was approaching the resting room, Li Fan only said, "We will see in the arena." All right. Jiang Feng didn't say anything more. He just sat there and continued to read quietly, as if he didn't know Li Fan. A few more martial masters came in, but everyone was relatively cold towards each other. After all, they would be opponents in the future, so no one talked much. However, there were two martial masters who seemed to know each other. Looking at their attire, one was a disciple of Kong Tong, and the other was a disciple of Qing Qing. Senior brother Zhang, who do you think will win this time? Junior brother Wang, your roaring flame saber has already reached perfection. Even I have to concede defeat. I think you have a high chance of winning. Senior brother Zhang, you are too courteous. Your dragon catcher hand is also superb. Furthermore, this time, our 6 major sects have all sent our elite disciples. Furthermore, there are a few sect leaders here, so it won't be our turn. Chapter 1605. I reckon that in the end, it will be our 6 great sects competing. How can the others compare to us? It's hard to say. I heard that the 7 Knights Villa also sent someone. Their sect leader didn't come. Only a girl called Wang Yuer came. I heard that she seems to be a traitor of Amei sect. Yeah, if this Wang Yuer meets the disciples of Amei sect, she will definitely be unlucky. She is nothing to be afraid of. What I am worried about is Muronging from Murong Villa, the previous alliance leader. What are you afraid of? If our sect leader didn't give face to old Master Murong, how could that girl become the alliance leader? This time, let's not talk about anything else. For the true immortal arts, we can't go easy on them. That's right. Let's perform well and not embarrass the sect leader. Hearing their conversation, Li Fan understood in his heart. It seemed that this time, the 6 great sects were determined to get the true immortal arts. But was it really that simple? Forget about the experts from various countries. Number 9, Martial Emperor, and Jiang Feng were all eyeing them. In addition, Liang Ru, who had the Shangfang sword, could not be underestimated. The heroic martial sect actually let her come out. It could be said that Director Nyo was lucky. You idiots! The position of alliance leader must be number 9. Right at this moment, an American martial artist walked in. He was actually proficient in Chinese and understood the conversation between the 2 sects' disciples. What is number 9? The Kongtong sect disciple sneered. You dare to act rashly in front of the 6 great sects. Number 9 is our America's hero. America. Wasn't he defeated by 7 Knights Villas Li Fan? How dare he come and bark? Even if he is defeated, it is because Li Fan is strong. What does it have to do with you guys? The American contestant sneered. This time, Li Fan did not come. Even if he came, our hero number 9 will definitely defeat him. Li Fan was a little surprised. This number 9 actually had such a good impression in the hearts of the American people. How did that cold-hearted guy become a hero? Hee, it seems like I should let you know what Chinese Kung Fu is. The Kong Tong disciple raised his true chi, but the Qingqing disciple next to him pulled him back. Forget it, I'll teach him a lesson in the arena. We Chinese people are magnanimous. Don't stoop to his level. Fine, I'll let you go. The 2 disciples walked to the side, but Li Fan shook his head. Foolish and arrogant. It was a taboo for a martial artist to say such big words without any understanding of the enemy. As mentioned in Sun Tzu's Art of War, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. This is the culture of China that has been passed down for thousands of years. Even a 3-year-old child would know this, but there were very few people who were willing to do it. In China, it wasn't just the young martial artists who behaved this way. Even those experts who had been famous for many years and sect leaders were like this. Even on the internet, there were a bunch of keyboard warriors who were unwilling to understand the truth. The moment they opened their mouths, they would say things like, "I heard, I'm sure, I promise," and then forcibly distort the truth. Jiang Feng also curled his lips. He seemed to be unhappy about this kind of thing. No, he should be feeling disdain, right? Contestants, please proceed to the next group according to the groups on the app. A staff member walked in and announced to the contestants. "Pa." Jiang Feng finally closed his book. Just as the 2 young disciples of the 6 major sects were about to get up, he waved his hand. Bang, bang. The 2 disciples both fell to the ground, then looked at the commander of the Imperial Guards in fear. "Oh my God, it's Jiang Feng, he's actually here too, why didn't I notice him just now?" Jiang Feng had been very low-key. He sat in the corner, holding a book, so no one noticed this real expert. He showed his hand, which could be considered as a small punishment for the 2 arrogant young disciples, and then left. The 2 brothers were scared for a while, let alone angry. Their foreheads were covered in cold sweat. Oh my God. It's good to be alive, in the future. Don't talk nonsense, the 2 disciples rejoiced. Li Fan glanced at them and followed them out. There were a total of 108 contestants in the second round. This time, the top 64 would be selected. Li Fan came to a ring according to the groups. In front of him, it was none other than Teresa. What the fuck, Li Fan felt a little headache. What the fuck, how could it be so coincidental? Oh my God, this must be God's arrangement. Compared to Li Fan, Teresa was very excited. Dearly, let me feel your heat again. When the judge next to her heard this, his expression also became strange. Teresa, don't say such misleading words, huh? What misunderstanding? Teresa looked at Li Fan in confusion. Nothing. Put your energy into the competition. Li Fan sighed. It seemed that he had to personally eliminate Teresa. Although her jiu-jitsu was also very good, he could not lose this competition. There was a stronger opponent waiting for him. The rules are the same as before. Please give it your all. The judge waved his hand, and the second round of the knockout competition officially began. Teresa licked her lips and then quickly approached Li Fan. Her movement speed was very fast. She had the agility of a woman, but she had strength that surpassed a man. Teresa quickly arrived in front of Li Fan and then directly hit his lower abdomen. Bang! Teresa's penetrating hand hit Li Fan's lower abdomen. But she felt as if she had hit cotton. There was no feeling of hitting at all. There are many ways to use inner strength. Li Fan said, one of them is to dissolve the opponent's strength. Unbelievable. Teresa did not expect that her attack would be dissolved just like that. Humph, don't think that you can beat me like this. Teresa said and wanted to pull her hand back to give Li Fan another hit. But she was surprised to find that she could not pull her hand out at all. How can this be? Feeling as if her hand was sucked in, Teresa used all her strength but could not pull her hand out. There is another way to use it, and that is this. After Li Fan said that, a burst of energy suddenly erupted from his lower abdomen and directly sent Teresa's body flying. Teresa almost fell out of the ring, but she still stabilized her body and rolled on the ground to dissolve the power in her body. Amazing! Teresa looked at Li Fan with some surprise. what else can you do? You can even do this. Li Fan stretched out his hand and pointed his palm at Teresa from a distance of a few meters. Chapter 1606. Li Fan aimed his palm at Teresa from a distance. Before Teresa could understand, a milky white ball of light slowly flew out from Li Fan's palm. Then, the ball of light instantly left Li Fan's palm and shot towards Teresa. What is this? Before Teresa could understand, the ball of light had already hit her lower abdomen. Bang! A huge force was produced instantly, replacing the ball of light and hitting Teresa's body, directly blasting her out and heavily smashing her outside the ring. What? Teresa laid on the ground, feeling sore all over her body. Li Fan's control of internal energy had already reached the acme of perfection and was incomparably superb. He sent Teresa flying, but he didn't hurt her physically. Unbelievable, Teresa could not understand why Li Fan could fly out a wave of energy from his hand. Could it be that inner energy really existed? The winner is contestant Li Yun. The referee raised his hand and announced, "Please go to lounge number 6 to rest. The third elimination round will begin in an hour." The next round was to select the top 34. This was naturally not difficult for Li Fan, but he did not know if Liang Ru would be able to advance smoothly. Although this girl had inherited the Shangfang sword, her combat experience was too little, almost zero. She was different from number 9, a clone who was experimented on. Although number 9 did not have much combat experience, he had a smart chip and absorbed many experts' combat methods. In addition to his animalistic instincts, that was why he was so strong. Speaking of which, that number 9 should have successfully passed the second round of martial arts. He hoped that his opponent could still take care of himself. However, the one who was more terrifying than number 9 should be the Martial Emperor, right? That guy was known as the Martial Emperor, but he was actually a selfish person. He only had his own existence in his heart. When he reached a certain level of strength, then everyone would only be pigs and dogs under his feet, enslaved by him. To Li Fan, the Martial Emperor, Grandmaster, these opponents were also not to be underestimated. Because once they were in power, then humans would either be enslaved or destroyed. There would not be a good ending. In contrast, Jiang Feng seemed to be able to join forces. Although he also had his own ideas, it was at most to destroy the martial arts world. He could first join forces with him to deal with the Outland and the Martial Emperor. Then, the two of them could resolve their internal conflicts. This was a good idea. She didn't know if Jiang Feng had the same tacit understanding with her. "Li, my dear Li." Just as Li Fan was about to go to the new lounge, Teresa ran over excitedly and grabbed Li Fan's arm, pressing her chest against his arm. "This chest seems to be quite soft." "Bah, what am I thinking? Did I fall for a sugar-coated bullet again?" Li Fan gently shook off Teresa's arm and said, "Miss Teresa, there is a saying in China that men and women should not touch each other. Those are the rules of the past. China is not so backward now. You can't fool me." Teresa had some understanding of Chinese culture, so she exposed Li Fan's lie immediately. "Anyway, you have a husband. It's not good for you to be like this." Li Fan coughed dryly. "It's okay. My husband and I have always been doing our own things. 2 days ago, he met a beautiful Spanish beauty. Do you want me to introduce her to you?" "This. I think I'll pass," Li Fan said. "It's really France. The competition is over, Miss Teresa. Why are you looking for me?" Li Fan walked into the lounge, which was currently provided for the 5 contestants. The others had not been chosen yet, so Li Fan had the opportunity to enjoy the lounge alone. "Don't be so heartless. We're friends." Teresa licked her lips. If you want to take our relationship further, I won't object. Li Fan was quite speechless. He sat down and a waiter came over and handed him an energy drink and a towel. Who are you? Stay away from him. Just as Teresa was fawning over Li Fan, Liang Ru happened to walk in with the Shangfang sword on her back. She saw a blonde beauty sticking to Li Fan and immediately became jealous. She stepped forward and pulled Teresa away. Oh. Who are you? I'm his girlfriend. Liang Ru puffed out her chest. Li Fan hurriedly explained, no, don't listen to her nonsense. She's my senior sister. Oh, senior sister. Teresa was a little excited. Then she must have some kind of true energy or something. Are you done? Stay away from Li Yun. Liang Ru was like a mother hen protecting her chick. She guarded closely by Li Fan's side, not letting Teresa get close to him. You're so nervous. It seems like you like him a lot. Teresa winked, and Liang Ru blushed. So what? None of your business. Our Li Yun doesn't like Western foreign women. You'd better leave quickly. Hee, but I like him. Teresa said her feelings without reservation. Dearly, why don't you come to my room and have a chat? What do you want? Liang Ru was angry and her face turned red. Sure. Teresa gently pressed a finger on her lips and said to Liang Ru, it's not suitable for children. Not suitable for children, my ass. Liang Ru was extremely angry. Just as she was about to speak, the door of the lounge was pushed open again. What followed was a gust of frightening cold air. The few of them turned their heads at the same time and saw a peerless beauty wearing a black cheongsam walk in. Murong. She glanced at Li Fan, who was entangled by two women, and then turned her head as if she didn't know Li Fan. But Li Fan smiled bitterly. Fuck, he was definitely recognized. Murong was the same as Jiang Feng in this aspect. No matter how he disguised himself, he would be seen through by them in a glance. You're Murong. Liang Ru had seen Murong Ying's photo before. Thus, she recognized this beautiful woman with a glance. What's the matter? Murong Ying crossed her arms and sat on the sofa with her left leg pressed against her right leg. She looked at Liang Ru with the posture of an empress. Liang Ru felt that she seemed to be inferior unknowingly. This made her, who was proud in her heart, very unhappy. I want to challenge you. As Liang Ru spoke, her body emitted a faint yellow light. Oh my god, is this true chi? Teresa watched the show for free and was extremely happy at the side. Martial arts is not allowed in the lounge. The referee hurriedly shouted. Martial arts is not allowed, but it didn't say that sparring is not allowed, right? Liang Ru's words caused the referee to be stunned. The referee also knew this girl's identity. With her father around, if she wanted to cause trouble, he really couldn't do anything. Fuck, the second generation of officials is too annoying. Chapter 1607. Liang Ru's body emitted a yellow glow as she stared at Murong Ying, full of fighting spirit. Did she inherit the Shangfang sword? Murong Ying recognized the sword on Liang Ru's back at a glance, then glanced at Li Fan. Li Fan broke out in a cold sweat. Fuck, this really has nothing to do with me. Liang Ru did use the back door, but it was not his back door. Senior sister, calm down. Don't affect the other contestants. Li Fan could only remind Liang Ru, if you want to determine the winner, prove it in the arena. Humph. Although Liang Ru was dissatisfied, she was not an unruly person. Since Li Fan said so, she no longer pestered Murong Ying. In any case, she would definitely have a chance to determine the winner with Muronging in the arena. Is this woman the previous chief of Wulin? Why can't I tell which part of her is strong? Li Fan will soon know that I am the woman who is worthy of him. It seems like there's a good show to watch. Teresa crossed her arms and looked like she was watching a show. Li Fan was a little glad that Jiang Feng was not here, otherwise they would really fight. Muronging would definitely settle the score with Jiang Feng for what happened in Murong Villa. After a while, another two martial artists walked in. They were both martial artists from Huaxia. They wanted to chat, but when they saw the cold Muronging, they were as quiet as cicadas in winter. The former chief. A person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. Just based on Murong Ying's influence, it was definitely a bomb level in the underworld. The third round of the competition has begun. The referee received the notice and began to call out numbers to the people in the room. Li Yun, you have to go to the 13th arena for the third round of the elimination. Got it. Li Fan nodded, took his ID, and immediately set off in the direction of Ring 13. In this arena, the lounge was on the 3rd floor, and the arena was on the 1st floor. After Li Fan came out, he went down to the 1st floor and entered the 13th arena. Since they were going to select the top 32, their opponents in this round should be a little stronger. In Li Fan's heart, he was a little expectant. After he entered the ring, he found that his opponent was already standing opposite him, waiting for him. Oh. When Li Fan saw a middle-aged woman with 2 swords on her back, he couldn't help but feel a little surprised. That woman was none other than the current sect leader of Immerse sect, Yu Ruoying. In order to obtain the true immortal art, this woman did not hesitate to expel her beloved disciple from the sect. She made her carry the name of a traitor and enter the Seven Knights Villa. Li Fan did not have a good impression of such a ruthless woman. Another piece of trash. Yu Ruoying urged, hurry up, I have to go back and apply a facial mask after I get rid of you. Okay, I promise I'll be quick. Li Fan smiled and stood on the stage. Hurry up and start. Yu Ruoying shouted at the judge, don't waste my time. Alright, let the match begin. The judge rolled his eyes and announced the start of the match. As the saying goes, quiet like a virgin, move like a fleeing rabbit. In an instant, Yu Ruoying used white horse treads on snow. Her body was like a spirit fox as she suddenly crossed a distance of 10 meters and arrived in front of Li Fan. At the same time, she pulled out her sword with her right hand and stabbed at Li Fan's left leg. If he were to be stabbed, Li Fan would probably be forced to retire and return to his hometown. In Yu Ruoying's heart, Li Fan should also be defeated. But at this moment, Li Fan suddenly raised his left leg and stepped on Yu Ruoying's sword. You don't respect your opponent. You don't deserve to be a martial artist. Under Yu Ruoying's shocked gaze, Li Fan's dragon subduing platform swept across Yu Ruoying's face. Bang! Yu Ruoying was kicked away and fell on the edge of the arena. What? Yu Ruoying's brain was still unable to react as if she was repelled in an instant. When she woke up, she was already lying on the ground. What happened? I was repelled by a nameless person. How is this possible? She is the sect leader of Immerse sect. How could a true grandmaster be defeated so easily? Nobody, have a taste of my cold snow plum blossom sword. With that, Yu Ruoying suddenly jumped up. White horse treads on snow was a qinggong that emphasized on agility. With this jump, she directly jumped on top of Li Fan's head. At the same time, she unsheathed her 2 swords and stabbed at Li Fan. In this short jump, she stabbed almost 100 times. It shows the strength of this Immerse grandmaster. Humph. Li Fan coldly snorted. He extended his hand and a long sword on the shelf beside the arena immediately flew over and fell into his hand. Holding this ordinary long sword, he waved it and actually managed to block Yu Ruoying's set of sword techniques. Impossible. Yu Ruoying's expression was as ugly as it could be. My sword technique was blocked. Something must have gone wrong. Her sword pressed against Li Fan's sword, bending the blade. Then, with the help of the rebound, she leaped up again. Then, the two swords merged into one, and her body spun as she fell towards Li Fan again. This sword was very fast, but Li Fan's body lightly slid and easily avoided Yu Ruoying's fatal strike. At the same time, he lifted his leg and kicked Yu Ruoying's body, sending the Immerse faction leader flying away. Yu Ruoying endured the pain and stabbed her two swords into the ground, barely stabilizing her body. Who the hell are you? Yu Ruoying looked at Li Fan in surprise. I'm just a martial artist. Li Fan said calmly, please advise me. Damn it. I am the Immerse sect leader. How can I lose to a nobody like you? Yu Ruoying clenched her teeth. The flesh on a middle-aged woman's face began to twist. I must. Before she finished speaking, Li Fan, who was standing at a distance, seemed to move his shoulders slightly. Supreme Dragon Fist. Bang! No one saw this punch clearly. They only saw Yu Ruoying's body fly out again and fall outside the arena. You talk too much. Who wants to listen? Li Fan retracted his fist and said to the judge, may I ask, can you make the decision? Okay. The judge suddenly came back to his senses. He did not understand how that rude woman flew out. But it was a fact that she fell outside the arena. Li Yun is the winner of this match. Impossible. Yu Ruoying stood up and shouted hysterically, I am the Immerse sect leader. I can't lose here. I should be competing for the championship in the finals. The true immortal art should be mine. Go back and dream. You have already lost. Li Fan turned around and walked back. At this moment, Yu Ruoying held two swords and launched a surprise attack from behind. The two swords stabbed toward Li Fan's back. Chapter 1608. Be careful. The referee's voice has already ended. Yu Ruoying's two swords have already arrived at Li Fan's back. The next second, they will pierce into his body. However, these two swords only pierced through the air and did not hit the target as expected. What? Yu Ruoying felt a sense of threat and subconsciously turned her head. Li Fan, on the other hand, was already standing by her side. He kicked her in the head from the bottom up. Bam! Yu Ruoying's body was kicked high up, and her head almost separated from her neck. If not for Li Fan's mercy, Yu Ruoying's head would have been separated from her body. But even so, her body directly smashed into the wall next to her, and her whole body was embedded in it. With this kind of temperament, you don't deserve to be a martial artist. Looking at Yu Ruoying, who was smashed into the wall, Li Fan coldly said, you violated the sanctity of martial arts duel. I am the leader of a Immerse faction. I can't be defeated. Yu Ruoying said and wanted to fight again, but her body was sore, and several bones in her body were broken. She simply did not have the ability to fight again. With your temperament, I'm afraid your future achievement will not be as good as your disciple Wang Yue. Li Fan ridiculed Yu Ruoying, guard your guru for the rest of your life. Anyway, you don't have long to live, right? Yu Ruoying's face slowly became frightened as she looked at Li Fan. How do you even know this? Who are you? I have said, I am just an ordinary martial artist. Li Fan was too lazy to talk to this Yu Ruoying anymore. He was also tired today, and it just so happened that all the martial arts duels have ended. It's time to go back and rest. Congratulations on becoming one of the top 32 contestants. After Li Fan came out, a staff of the venue immediately greeted him. You have your own private lounge, you can live there. Really? This is not bad. Li Fan's spirit was lifted. Great, I finally have a place to live alone. In this way, I can cultivate properly. The staff led Li Fan to a higher lounge on the 4th floor. In this lounge, Li Fan could see the huge outdoor martial arts arena from the window. Although he had seen it during the day, Li Fan had to praise it. The arena was indeed well built and very majestic. This was also a facility that could only be built in a centralized country. Few Western countries could build such a magnificent arena. As one of the top 32 contestants, Li Fan's lounge was also a good one. It was a standard one-person apartment. There was a bed, a desk, and a separate bathroom with shower facilities. It could be considered a 3-star room. I wonder how Wu Huang and the others are. I look forward to it. Tomorrow, the top 4 contestants will be Yi, Zhou, Li Fan said. Su, Liang Su said. Su, however, the matches for the top 32 would still be held in the indoor arena on the 1st floor. The top 16 would be selected before 9 o'clock. The top 16 will be held in the outdoor arena. Starting from 9 o'clock, the top 16 will compete continuously. In the afternoon, it will be the top 8. Lu Bufan also sent a WeChat message to Li Fan. Looks like this kid is very lucky to be in the top 32. However, the top 32 should be experts. With Lu Bufan's results, it would be very difficult for him to win. Bang! Just as Li Fan was about to meditate, someone knocked on the door. Who is it? Li Fan thought it was strange. Who would be looking for him at this time? He opened the door and was dumbfounded. Good heavens, it's actually Teresa. This beautiful French contestant was dressed in a combat suit during the day, but at night, she changed into a beautiful and sexy dress. She stood at Li Fan's door with 2 glasses of red wine in her hands and looked at Li Fan with a smile. Dearly, how about we have a drink? Li Fan closed the door behind him. Hey, isn't it too impolite for you Chinese to treat your guests like this? I have something to tell you. Where's the important information? It's not a good idea to let Teresa shout outside. It'll be bad if she attracts other people. This woman, how did she find out that I'm staying here? This venue is too bad at keeping the contestants' secrets. Li Fan had no choice but to open the door and let Teresa in. Teresa was wearing a clean and beautiful dress, and sexy black stockings on her lower body. Years of practicing martial arts had trained Teresa's legs to be long and straight. As a natural-born Caucasian, her fair legs looked even more alluring when paired with the black stockings. Dearly, sometimes you're really heartless. Teresa swayed her hips and walked into Li Fan's room. The lounge of the top 32 is really not bad. It would be great if I could sleep here too. You're a famous martial artist. Don't tell me you don't have the money to stay in a 3-star hotel. Li Fan couldn't help but roll his eyes. This Teresa is trying to trick me. No way. Li Fan was determined to block the sugar-coated bullets of capitalism. Dear, it's so hot in the room. Teresa gently sat beside Li Fan and put the wine glass on the table next to her. Then, she slightly pulled down her collar and revealed half of her breasts. Li Fan said it wasn't hot at first, but it made him feel a lot hotter. It's so hot, Therese simply took off the little dress on her upper body, revealing her upper body that was only wearing a sexy black leopard print bra. This is a woman's most powerful weapon. Even Li Fan couldn't help but feel weak under this kind of attack. He hurriedly stood up and avoided Teresa before saying, "Teresa, I'm not against romantic encounters, but I'm not interested in a married woman." "Don't say that. For us French, it's the same whether we're married or not." Teresa gave Li Fan an encouraging look. "Don't you feel excited about conquering a beautiful wife?" "Stop it, Teresa. Didn't you say you came to talk to me?" "Yeah, then sit down first and we'll talk slowly." Teresa lightly patted the bed beside her. "I have very important information to give you." "I'd better stand here and talk." "For a lady, it's very impolite of you." Teresa was a little sad. "Do you hate me that much?" "No." "Okay, you can talk, but don't get physical." Li Fan really couldn't do anything to this wolf-like Teresa. Chapter 1609. "Dearly, I really have information to tell you." Teresa picked up the wine glasses and handed one of them to Li Fan. "Don't tell me you don't even want to drink my wine." "All right." Li Fan picked up the wine glass and slowly took a sip. "This seems to be the red wine that Teresa brought herself. The taste seems to be pretty good." However, Li Fan doesn't really know how to taste red wine. He also doesn't know what is considered good wine and what is not. "I don't know much about you Chinese people's information on this tournament." Teresa raised her beautiful leg and took out her cell phone from the strap on her leg. Li Fan saw that there was actually a condom in the pocket next to the straps. "Look, there are a few international experts this time. Other than the black ghost by Sen that you met during the day, there is also a French warrior called White Tiger called Tiger." Teresa pulled up a photo of a burly man wearing a white tiger mask. "I heard that this man was born with the strength of a fierce tiger and is an outstanding professional wrestler in France. I think he later went to the United States to fight in WWE." "What is WWE?" Li Fan was stunned. "World Wrestling Entertainment, or WWE. You should have heard of it, right?" "Yeah, I've heard of it. I liked to watch it when I was young. It's very satisfying." When Li Fan was in junior high, he often watched WWE. Later on, he was discovered by the adults and was worried that Li Fan would have violent tendencies in the future, so he was banned. When he grew up, Li Fan heard that WWE is all acting. He doesn't know if it's true or not, but it's very satisfying to watch. Those matches are just child's play. Teresa waved her hand. "What really excites Western people is this WWE, also known as the Underworld Wrestling Entertainment. In this place, there are almost no rules. Victory is the ultimate goal. The White Tiger Warrior, Tiger, is a famous pinnacle player in WWE. He has never lost a match in WWE. Those who fight with him are either crippled or dead. They don't have a good ending. Ha, this guy is so powerful." Li Fan raised his eyebrows. He was very excited to be able to fight against such a player in the world. "There's one more. It's this mysterious hero from America, number 9. Teresa took out number 9's information. On it was a handsome man in uniform and a mask. Although he looked the same as Li Fan, number 9's genes had been strengthened. His physical body was even more tyrannical, and his height was close to 1.9 meters. Every muscle on his body was like half a rock, and he looked full of power. He's half a god in the hearts of the American people. It's said that he's the real-life version of Superman. He's worshipped by the American people. How powerful! But it is said that number 9 always has a female reporter named Windsor with him. It seems that she is number 9's agent. Maybe this Windsor is very important to number 9. Li Fan faintly felt that it was Windsor who changed the number 9, because Windsor's appearance was indeed a good beauty. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and Teresa each had their own merits. And what was worth praising was that Windsor had a bit of cuteness like a porcelain doll. Not to mention anything else, she was exactly the type that Li Fan liked. If number 9 was a person cloned from his own genes, he would also have a kind of love for this beautiful girl named Windsor. With such feelings, no matter how strong number 9 was, he probably wouldn't make a move on Windsor. If Windsor was a little more eloquent, maybe she could really influence number 9. Fate makes fools of people. Dearly, why are you sighing like this? Teresa was puzzled at first, but she suddenly smiled. You're right. It must be God's arrangement for me to meet you. Dearly, I really like you. Your strength makes it hard for me to control myself. Oh. As she spoke, she opened her arms and leaned into Li Fan's embrace. Li Fan originally wanted to push Teresa away, but he seemed to be aroused by Teresa, so he couldn't bear to push away the beauty in his arms. Teresa's mouth slightly hung a smug smile. She put some aphrodisiac in the wine and specially sprayed an aphrodisiac perfume. She didn't believe that this Li wouldn't give in. The reason why she did this was because, 1, she really liked this mysterious and powerful Chinese man. French women pursue romance and love. Since there was such a man, she was naturally willing to seek a night of pleasure. 2, she also wanted to get close to Li Fan and find out what this powerful secret of Li Fan was. The mysterious Chinese martial arts wasn't something that could be learned just because one wanted to. She heard that the Chinese always had some kind of sectarian bias, which caused the great Chinese martial arts to almost be lost in the end, resulting in the current situation where there was a gap between the young and the old. If she could learn this magical internal force, then she could also obtain the qualification to fight in the WWE. Teresa also liked to pursue martial arts, to pursue the feeling of victory. Teresa. Under this state of being attacked by lust, Li Fan forcibly raised the internal force in his body and circulated it in his meridians for a few days in an instant, forcing out the poison of love that had been brewing in his body. Li Fan also instantly regained his sobriety, and finally pushed Teresa, who was already a little confused and infatuated. Ever since he became a dragon knight, Li Fan had learned his lesson. This kind of one-night stand really couldn't be played. It was too easy to get into trouble. Not to mention other things, since Teresa could find his room, then Liang Ru, Murong Ying, and the others also had a probability of finding this place, right? When the time came, if the two of them saw that he was fooling around with a foreign woman, what would they think? Li Fan didn't want to be hunted down by the two women, so he forcibly put away the thoughts that he shouldn't have. Why, my dearly. Teresa reached out and grabbed Li Fan's vital part. See, you're already so welcoming, aren't you? Oh my God, with your size, you really don't look like an Asian. We, the Easterners, naturally have our own talented, experts. Li Fan pulled Teresa's little hand away, calmed down his lust, stood up, and looked at Teresa again. Teresa, I respect you, but please respect me too. We Huaxia people have a more traditional and conservative concept of love, I hope you can understand. My dearly, what are you worried about? Teresa was a little indignant that someone could actually ignore her charm. I won't let you be responsible for anything, we French people are very clear about love and marriage. We Huaxia people are different. But the probability of you having an affair, marriage change, and having a third party is very high. There are always some exceptions. Ahem, alright, Teresa, how about this, I'll teach you internal force, and you give up on the idea of me, how about that? Chapter 16:10. Li Fan could tell that Teresa had made up her mind today, so he decided to take a roundabout route to save the country and let Teresa divert her thoughts. Dearly, you're making it hard for me to choose. Teresa licked her lips. Can't I have both? Of course not. Li Fan emphasized, in China, there's a saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Alright, dearly, it looks like I can only make one choice. Teresa said in her heart, with my charm, sooner or later I'll have the chance to push Li down. After all, I'm a famous beauty. No matter how persevering Li Fan is, he's still a man, right? I'll slowly conquer him. I'll definitely make him fall under my skirt. Then I'll first learn this magical inner energy from you. What should I do? How can I have inner energy? Logically speaking, at your age, it's already very difficult to cultivate inner energy. Ah. Is it impossible? No, no. Luckily you met me. As Li Fan spoke, he suddenly walked behind Teresa and placed a palm on her back. What are you doing? Without waiting for Teresa to react, a powerful inner energy poured into her body from Li Fan's palm. Teresa couldn't help but stretch out her hands and discovered that there was a silver-white stream of air wrapped around her hands. This is true energy. Sort of, a little stronger than true energy. Li Fan nodded. I left a certain amount of inner energy in your body and opened up your meridians. This inner energy will automatically circulate in your body. Although it can't strengthen your dantian, it can maintain the absorption of the energy you get from food. As long as you eat, the inner energy you use can be regenerated. In an ordinary battle, the amount of inner energy in your body is enough for you to use. This is amazing. Teresa felt the air flow on her hands. She was very excited, so she tried to control the two air flows and began to gather them on her hands. Soon, 2 balls of white air condensed on her palms and continuously rotated. Amazing, is this true energy? How's the power? Power. Go to the training room and try it yourself. Li Fan yawned. I'm tired. I need to rest. Alright, I'm going to the training room. See you tomorrow, darling. I will cheer for you. In the end, Teresa was still a martial arts fanatic. Now that she had gained new strength, she immediately put on her clothes and ran downstairs to the training room. I'm finally free. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief. After getting rid of this crazy French girl, the rest would be easy. He looked at the wide arena outside, stretched his body, and lay down on the bed. No matter who came looking for him tonight, he would absolutely ignore them. There will be a martial arts competition at 7 tomorrow morning. Let's get up at 6 and have breakfast. Before the martial arts competition, Li Fan didn't want to make himself so nervous. He lay on the bed and soon fell asleep. In his dream, he seemed to see another Feng Xiaoxue. When Li Fan woke up, he found that his pillow was a little wet. And, it's a new day. Li Fan sorted out his emotions. He put on the heroic martial sect sportswear and opened the door. It was still very quiet outside. After all, it was only the top 32. Perhaps after the top 8, it would become lively, right? The top 16 would be selected in the competition at 7, so he still had time to have breakfast. However, before Li Fan left, a staff member brought breakfast to Li Fan. Sir, this is your breakfast. Please go to the 3rd arena after eating. Ah, alright. They actually brought breakfast to my room. It seemed that the people from the Sky Martial Pavilion had thought this through. They were afraid that the contestants would have the opportunity to come into contact with each other before the competition and then start fighting. Please enjoy your meal. The staff member left after bringing breakfast. Li Fan simply ate a little. Now that he could absorb heaven and earth yuan qi, he didn't have a strong need for food. He just liked to eat according to his habits. Darling, you're up so early. When Li Fan went to the 3rd arena, he bumped into Teresa again. It was as if the girl had her eyes on him and was always around him. Hey, Teresa, didn't you get eliminated? Go back to France. Don't you miss your motherland? Of course I miss my motherland, but I miss you more. Teresa winked at Li Fan. She was wearing a white shirt and black Korean-style shorts, looking very pure. She followed closely beside Li Fan, as if she was afraid that Li Fan would get lost. The third arena is this way, darling. Can't I go to the toilet? I can go with you. Fuck, why are you going in? I can help you hold on. Li Fan had to give it to Teresa. This lady was really clinging to him. Fortunately, Liang Ru and the rest were not around. Otherwise, they would definitely cause a ruckus. Li Fan had to give up his plan to escape to the toilet and obediently went to the third arena. As a friend, Teresa could also enter and watch from the side. He came early, and his opponent had not appeared yet. There was only Li Fan in the arena. Li Fan looked at the time. It was already 7:20. The opponent was actually late. Hey, referee, the opponent didn't come. Should it be counted as his loss? Li Fan did not say anything, but Teresa went up to ask the referee. When the referee saw this blonde beauty, he was too embarrassed to say anything else and was about to announce. At this moment, the door was pushed open, and a group of reporters rushed in, surrounding a blonde, fair-skinned foreign man. Hey, this is the top 32, no spectators allowed. The referee hurriedly said to the reporters, but they all ignored him and frantically took pictures of the blonde, fair-skinned man. Oh, why is it this egomaniac? Teresa sighed. Who is this? Li Fan asked as he moved his muscles and bones. In any case, he was not in a hurry. An hour was enough to finish this match. At 9:00, it should be the top 16. He is a WWE player, nicknamed Titan. Teresa told Li Fan, he is the WWE's world champion for the past 2 years. I heard that he did not even put the white tiger in his eyes and always wanted to beat that tiger into a sick tiger. Teresa groaned, this brother's appearance fee is extremely high. Why did he think of coming here to compete? After all, there is a prize for the first place. Li Fan smiled, it's fine. Then I will accompany him to practice. Be careful. Although this person is arrogant, he still has some ability. Teresa reminded Li Fan. At this time, Titan had already walked to the arena and extended 3 fingers to Li Fan. 3 minutes, I will let you go out lying down. Chapter 16:11. The surrounding cameras kept shooting non-stop, and the flashes kept hitting Tai Tan's body. This Tai Tan was indeed a handsome man, sunny and handsome. He posed in front of the camera, allowing the reporters to take pictures. You must take a more handsome picture. We, Tai Tan, are giving you face by letting you take pictures, do you understand? The agent stood at the side, also arrogantly shouting at these people. Those reporters did not care, their focus was on Tai Tan. Tai Tan, do you have the determination to win this martial arts competition? Why did you consider coming to China to participate in this kind of martial arts competition? Don't these opponents make you feel that they are too weak? These reporters raised their microphones, ignoring the martial arts competition, and continued to interview Tai Tan. Tai Tan crossed his arms, wearing a golden cloak, and smiled proudly. The reason why I condescend to come to this kind of place is to fulfill my promise from back then. Ferocious white tiger, I want to thoroughly defeat him in this remote and backward land. Li Fan frowned, this brother's words were a bit unlikable. After all, this was an international martial arts competition, one could really meet anyone. However, the martial artists on his side were also like this, so Li Fan was too embarrassed to say anything about others. Everyone else is just a stepping stone, only the white tiger is my enemy. Tai Tan released a declaration of victory. I will beat him up, and then get this China's martial arts alliance master. Paw, paw, paw. Applause, flashes, and the sound of cameras taking pictures converged into a strange music, causing Li Fan to feel a little irritated. Contestant, please start your match immediately. The referee picked up the loudspeaker and urged loudly, if you don't start, I'll rule that you have lost the match. What are you rushing me for? You don't know manners. Tai Tan ridiculed, didn't I say it already? In 3 minutes, I can take care of you, the sick man of East Asia. Those Chinese martial artists I met before were all too weak, so boring. Li Fan glanced at the referee, who nodded. I announce that the top 32 martial arts competition officially begins. As soon as he finished speaking, Tai Tan hooked his finger at Li Fan, meaning for him to make the first move. Li Fan didn't stand on ceremony. He strolled in front of Tai Tan and tentatively slapped his lower abdomen. Bang! The Titan's body didn't move. Li Fan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He had used a little bit of his inner force, which was enough to deal with the 2-meter-tall muscular man, but it was useless against this wrestler called Titan. The muscles on his body seemed to have been trained to a very exaggerated level, right? Ha, did you not eat your fill? Tai Tan sneered, that's why I call you the sick men of East Asia, you don't even have the slightest bit of strength. Could this be called a fist? This is what you call a fist. With that, Tai Tan threw a hook directly at Li Fan's chin. Bang! Li Fan's body was sent flying and then fell on the arena. Heavens! Teresa couldn't help but exclaim. Her dearly, is he going to be defeated? The muscles on this Titan's body had been trained to the acme of perfection, and ordinary attacks were ineffective against him. Could it be that China's mysterious inner force can't deal with him? Teresa was a famous beauty in Europe and America. This man called Tai Tan had once pursued her, but Teresa hated his arrogance, so she didn't agree. He can't even withstand a single blow. Tai Tan disdainfully said, Referee, announce my victory. Don't be anxious. Li Fan easily sat up from the ground. He rubbed his neck and looked at Tai Tan, come, let's continue. You can take quite a beating. Tai Tan was slightly surprised. He suddenly took off his cloak and threw it to his manager. Then, he quickly ran over and grabbed Li Fan with one hand. Then, he twisted his body and went around to Li Fan's back and directly threw a German-style back throw. Bang! Li Fan's head smashed onto the arena. The reporters at the side were all exclaiming. Look, it's a German-style back throw. I'm afraid that the Chinese won't be able to take this head on. That's right, who would be able to withstand this move? Even a tiger can't take it. The reporters were discussing. Tai Tan also let go of Li Fan, stood up and walked towards his manager. Hurry up and call an ambulance. He'll probably be lying in the hospital for 2 months. Just as Tai Tan finished speaking, Li Fan's voice rang out again, then aren't you going to compensate for the medical expenses? What? Tai Tan suddenly turned around and realized that Li Fan was standing behind him, completely fine. What? Before he finished speaking, Li Fan suddenly took a step forward and met the attack with his palm, directly pressing it on Tai Tan's lower abdomen. Bang! This time, Tai Tan's muscles didn't help him. He directly slid out and slid towards the edge of the arena. Tai Tan endured the pain and forcibly stopped his body. But Li Fan once again appeared in front of him. Li Fan was not anxious. Both of his palms were like shooting targets. One palm after another, he continuously slapped Tai Tan's body. Bang, bang, Bang! Li Fan consecutively struck more than 10 palms, causing Tai Tan to continuously retreat. Bang! Finally, Li Fan used both of his palms and slapped Tai Tan's abdomen. Tai Tan couldn't take it anymore and directly flew out. In a flash, he broke through the room's door and fell out of the room. Sorry, I used a bit too much strength. Li Fan said to his manager, help him call an ambulance. I estimate that he'll have to lie in the hospital for 2 months. The manager swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Looking at Tai Tan, who had already fainted and lying outside, he didn't know what to say. Tai Tan's trip to China actually came to an end just like that. But the reporters became excited and kept taking photos of Li Fan. The image of the heroic martial sex disciple also appeared in various foreign media. Darling, you are indeed the best. Teresa happily welcomed him and affectionately held onto Li Fan's arm. That egomaniac overestimated himself. He actually dared to challenge you. He's still quite powerful. Li Fan honestly said, among the ordinary people, he is indeed one of the best. But unfortunately, he met me. Consider this brother's bad luck. The top 32 competition is over. In a while, at 9 o'clock, they will officially enter the top 16 competition. Please return to the lounge and rest for a while. Wait for our notice. The judge's attitude towards Li Fan also became respectful. This person is too powerful. Furthermore, he really made the Chinese people proud. Okay. Under the flashing lights of the reporters, Li Fan brought Teresa, this little tail, back to his lounge. On the wall of the lounge, there was a big TV, which was playing the information of the selected contestants. Among them, Li Fan saw some familiar names. Muronging, Jiang Feng, and, you're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.